You on mute? I can't hear you.
Well, that was a waste of a speech, wasn't it?
You started the show, and all people can see is this.
That's all I ever do is that anyway. So let me just start again. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Saturday night of Shadow Whispers in the Night. Jenny always does that. I always do it. But there you go. That's how it starts. Anyway, tonight I have my fabulous friend Nando co-hosting with me again tonight. It's been a while. We've been busy, but we're here. The duo is here. There's Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, mate. Oh, Daniel. Hello,
He's talking about me now, not you, Nando.
Hey, look. He loves me more than anyone.
Oh, there's my daughter. Live on YouTube now. Really cool. That's my daughter, Elsa. Hi, Elsa. She's watching on YouTube because that's her YouTube name there. It's Elsa. It's Elsa. Hi, Elsa, my love. So we have a fantastic guest on our show tonight. We do. We do. Before that, how was your day, Nando? I forgot to ask you, how was your day?
Yeah, it was good. We went to the Thai festival today, so that was great.
What's that food?
Yeah. There was food. There was food. There was music. There was ladyboys. It was everything.
Oh,
it was fun. So it was really cool.
Did you eat the food? Did you have food? I love Thai food. I like talking about food.
Yeah, I love my food. So there's definitely food there. There was definitely some food. Yeah, you had a good day?
I did. I had a busy day as always. And I set my alarm. For 20-minute nap. 20-minute, not even a nap, just lie down and rest. And I set it for 8:20, but I set it at 8:15. So, because I was busy. I was doing work. I was doing rescue work. I'm involved in animal rescue as well. So I'm doing rescue work and I got home at 5 a.m. from an investigation. Because Jenny gets older but never wiser. Oh no.
You need to start taking it easy as you're getting older. You need to start getting that sleep in, getting that, especially being a lady, if you don't get enough sleep in, that's where horrible things happen.
Hold on. So now we've just muted Nando now, so we can just hear him doing like that. So enjoy watching his face because we can't hear him now. What were you saying?
I'm only joking. But no, it seems like it's been like forever since we've done a show together.
I know, Mr. Banter. I can hear Sarah going out with her slipper because she's watching you and she can hear you.
Hey, I'm lucky she's actually asleep. She's had too much fun today, so now she's like out, so I can say whatever I want without getting into trouble.
I'm texting her.
Okay. I didn't mean what I said. It was a joke. Moving on.
So quick hellos. There's my Louise. Louise is the right-hand woman on my team, Emerald Isle. So there's Miss Louise. She's working hard all day. So she's in her bed now. I think she's in her bed now and having a wee rest. There's my sister from another Mr. Chantel from South Africa. I miss you, Chantel, and I hope you're okay. I hope you're well. So enough about us. We have a fantastic guy on tonight. I love his work. I love his audio. I love his videos. I love his locations. Because I know some of them. We have PJ O'Sullivan on with us tonight from Puka Folk Paranormal Investigations Ireland. We have an Irish man on with us tonight.
That'd be cool.
Yes, of course. We have a wee bit of banter and a wee bit of crack.
We have a normal Irish person on the show tonight, shall we say? Love you.
I'm joking. I was pretending to freeze. I didn't.
I know.
Hey, Anthony, how's you? What's the story with your hand? Okay, so we're gonna stop waffling now. So we're gonna bring PJ in, and PJ is gonna tell us about some fantastic locations in Ireland. His experience is in the paranormal field, and everything else. So we'll bring Anthony in. Not Anthony. Why am I saying Anthony? Because I was looking at Anthony's name there. PJ. Jeez. PJ, what's the story with you? Welcome to Shadow Whispers in the Night, your first night with us.
Hi guys, how are you?
Well, good. We're great. We're just being silly and bantering away. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us.
No, thank you. To be honest, I'm absolutely delighted to be on with you guys tonight. And to be fair, you seem like a good old crew to catch up with in a Saturday night.
I'm going to tell you, listen, grab yourself a stiff one.
Are we going there?
Should we? What did I say earlier? Hi, Kate. What did I say earlier? I text you.
You were saying to get a good sniff one.
Grab a good sniff one. That's Jennifer running around like a blue ass fly, as we say here. We're going to talk about fantastic locations that you have been to. And I know them and I love them. I don't know all the locations. My cat only starts every time I do live.
That's okay. I have a dog who's often the same.
Oh, it's Charlie. Hi, Charlie.
Want some attention.
Charlie, I'm waiting for Toby to start. I mean, there's Mr. Scott. Well, good evening, Scott. Or good afternoon. I think it's good afternoon with Scott. What's the story? How are you keeping, my love? So, PJ, do you want to tell everybody your team, how you started? This is Charlie. Your team, how you started, what got you into the paranormal?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, we have to say hello to Charlie first. Let's be fair.
Charlie wants to go outside. Look at me.
Okay,
Sorry,
so I'm a paranormal investigator. I suppose close on 20 years at this stage now. I suppose I'm in the field. For me, where it actually started was myself and a friend. We stayed in a relative's house, and somebody had actually passed there. So two separate people, two separate minds, woke up and seen the same thing at run across the room. And we actually finished each other's sentence. So I was like jelly shape and he goes person. So that was kind of the first thing I ever seen. And that was quite a young age. I suppose I was in my about 15, 16. So like that, put it to the back of my mind, didn't think much more about it. And years later, it kept coming back into my head, paranormal, what was it? The questions were there.
Aye.
And that's then what led me to start getting into the field.
Fantastic. And then once you get into it, you can't get out of it. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you can't get out of it.
It's in your blood. I think once it's there, like, as I suppose for me, I had that early experience in life, and I think then it just never leaves you. So once paranormal gets into your blood, it becomes part of you. It's your passion.
That's it. I always say when we stay in hotels, sorry, Nando, when we stay in hotels, we like to stay in castle hotels and so on. And at the time, it was like, oh, we're staying in a castle hotel. And now it's not just a hotel anymore. There's more to it because we got involved in it, and we opened up Pandora's box, if you can say that. So when you're packing your suitcase for the weekend, you always put in your recorder and little bits and pieces in when you stay in a castle hotel, because there was any.
There's always like one special bag, and it always ends up being carried around with you.
Yeah, one that snuck into the hotel.
And let's be fair, paranormal investigators, none of us travel light, even going on location. We're always packing the car. We're looking for that new thing we can try, because it keeps changing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even though I find, for me, the basic of an item could actually become a big part of your kit.
I know. And you don't have to break the bank.
No, absolutely.
To get these equipment. And I know everyone is keeping up with these, Boo Bears, and I'm sure people have them. I don't have them. I'm not putting them down, but I'm just saying, it's what, 200 something for a Boo Bear? Something like that, 250. I don't have one, but I always say, get a teddy bear,
And the thing is, as well as your kit, every ghost hunters or paranormal investigator, your kit grows as you do within the field. Like for me, I suppose, like what I use a lot of is I don't use live DVR systems, because you've a limit. I was saying this, you've limited time in a location.
Yeah.
I don't want to be wasting it going back. I want to keep moving forward, and I can reveal everything afterwards. And like you do have, as I have just Sony Handycam cameras, they were the best for night vision.
Yeah.
I have the IR lights, so I would run on locations minimum 4. Sometimes I could go to 5, and also a handheld. So I could end up after an investigation with anything like 50 hours worth of footage to now sit down and review. And as you know, you can't skip forwards. You can't ask someone to check it. There's no, because you could literally watch 2 hours or 3 hours or 10 hours and before you find the smallest of a thing. But that small thing is a huge thing to us.
Well, that's it. And I know when I was doing audio, and I said, I'll just sit like this for a second and close my eyes just for 5 minutes, just for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then about an hour later, I've woken up like this on my table, and it takes me 10 minutes because my arms have turned into rigor mortis. My arms, it takes me about 20 minutes just to kind of like like undo my arms, and then my audio is still going, and I'm like, where did I fall asleep? So let's go back to the beginning.
You can do all over again. But
Yeah.
for you, you know, you said 20 years ago, 20 years in the
Yeah.
paranormal, you know, your experience started at a young age, around 16. You know, when you started thinking, oh, I'm going to take this more seriously, I'm going to, you know, really get into it, become an investigator. How did you go through that development? So what stages did you take to teach? Did you teach yourself? Did you find someone that could help you? How did you get into it in that way and to become what you're doing today?
So what I did was I actually went on public investigations. So I had seen an ad in a newspaper, went to a public investigation, and I then, like that, started watching what they were doing. I was getting more interested in it, and likewise, they saw the same with me, and I ended up becoming part of a regular on the team. And that's, of course, like I learned, we'll say, the tricks of the trade. There is no tricks, there is no trade. You're just learning what you do and go with your gut. I think your gut will always serve you the most. As I say, I don't have all the answers. I don't think anyone can say they have it. But that's then, so I continued making connections, and of course through castles, locations. I was building my kit. I was learning from other people. I might go to larger events and get people's ideas, point of views, and I met some great people along the journey. And of course, then there came the point of, well, okay, now it's time for Púca Bhóg to be born. And I come from a home where my mom unfortunately was getting unwell, and she would have always had me coming home with the stories. So this was a lady that in the beginning she'd be going the Pookies. She'd be calling them the Pookies, a typical Irish mammy. She'd be like, are you chasing the Pookies again this weekend? And then next thing I'd start showing her bits of clips or letting her listen to bits of audio. And her whole mentality, her whole outlook on it changed. And this was a lady of massive faith. So next thing she was like, come on, you have to get it live. You have to pick a name. You have to do your own one. And she's like, I want to see this before I pass. So like that's where Púca Bhóg came from. But then I just launched as, of course, the pandemic hit. So we've been in hiatus over the pandemic. Last year was our first full year, but I'm very blessed as well because my son is a paranormal investigator and he grew up with it. So as I was saying, you'd be cooking at dinner, you'd be sitting at home by night. Most kids get fairy tales. My child got watching paranormal footage. So what a great father am I.
I know.
He was dragged up in paranormal. So needless to say, Leo is a big part of the team. So we're two generations of Púca Bhóg.
That's fantastic.
And of course, his partner Eva, she's part of Púca Bhóg. And of course, then we have Rory and Veronica. So what we have is we now have 5 people. I'm obviously the dinosaur of the group, but it's like old meets new. We try different things. They're eager. They're checking things out, coming up with ideas. So it's a good balance. And
it's family. It's all family as well. So that's brilliant. Because I trying to get Jessica into it, but you know, she's 19 and she's like, Mom, no. You know, she doesn't want to do it. I did take
I think it's the way that they see things, isn't it? I think the younger audience, it depends on how they see things and the way they are. So I would love my kids to really get involved with it, but I don't think my son Gino, if he saw some of the stuff that we've seen, I think we'd sit in the corner like this, and he would be sleeping for a while.
Nando, that's you, Nando. Nando, when he goes into a location, when he walks in, the first thing he does when he walks into a location is look for the exit, just in case he needs it.
I've always said this. I enjoy it. I'll go on an investigation, but if anything goes down, I'll be the first one out. Even if my wife's there, I will run past my wife and I'll be like, "I'll see you later. I'm gone." But you know, it is good fun.
Don't forget, a good run is better than a bad stand. And my apologies, I'm going to have to plug in the phone. I just see the battery.
That's okay. Go for it.
So I do apologize about that.
Told up with Silly Grant. I know myself and Louise were out on. We were out kind of going to a place yesterday, and we there was a wall the height of your knee, and Louise said to me, "Jen, you're going to be able to get up there." Because I have a back and I've got knees and Jesus, they're not the best, you know. So yeah, I was like a baby elephant calf getting up on the wall, and I was worse getting off it. I was on my hands and knees getting off a wall the height of your knee. Depends on how tall you are. But yeah, I'm desperate. I'm desperate. I
But
mean,
it's funny, no matter how many aches or ailments we have, when it comes to getting into location of a castle, by God, can we get up and down them stairs?
You're going to make the most of it because they're amazing locations. But just to us, and we were briefly talking about this in the background before we started, you know, as you mentioned, you know, I think something all three of us have got in common. We come from a Catholic background, you know, like yourself being Irish, you know, and I know from my background, you know, sometimes when you're thinking about the paranormal and the older generation, shall we say, it's a sort of a taboo subject. You know, was everyone in your family, like your mum sounds like she was brilliant about it, but what was other people like when you were saying, I'm a paranormal investigator now, I'm going out chasing ghosts and things like that? You know, what were their sort of, you know, thoughts on it? And that being a Catholic, did that sort of, you know, sort of change people's opinions with what you've shown them, or how was it for you?
Well, I suppose it's like everything. Every family has one crazy, and I'd be the crazy in ours. So I suppose that's the first. But coming back to, like, I'm very lucky that we came from a family where we might always agree with everything each other does, but we can support each other.
aye.
Then when it comes to my mom, she was a lady of great faith. As I say, she went from calling it you going after the Pookies this weekend to now becoming a bit passionate about it. Whereas my dad was very much a gentleman, very much traditional. His motto was let the dead sleep, let them rest. Didn't believe in it, didn't agree with it, full stop. So basically what you had was, if there was a conversation, you just had a man with like a blank face in him, didn't contribute, didn't ask, don't want to know. It's like that saying, hear and see no evil. You know what I mean? Just
definitely.
His belief was like, you know, we shouldn't with a religion, we shouldn't be doing this. But that was his, and that's okay. Everybody has their own opinion. But at no stage did he say like, stop. Oh, there goes the phone.
Oh, that was me last Saturday night in the Athenaeum. That was me. I was like sideways 1 second.
Yeah, it's like everything. Just trying to get it to balance while it's charging with a course.
Oh, I know. Grand.
But maybe if I keep my hands off the table, I might do better. So no, like, he was very much a man that he would never say stop. He would never criticize. But for him and his belief, he just believed, no, I don't want to be involved in it.
That's it, yeah. And it's not for everyone. You know, I'm sorry, not it's not for everyone, but you know, a little snippet. Yeah. So I mean, I think I come from a big family, and one or two of them would be the same, you know. But then when they know what I do, and it's like, oh, that's Jenny. There's always, like you say, there's always one in every family, and I come from a family of 11, and there had to be one, and of all 11, it had to be me.
And there is, but it's interesting as well how it goes. Like, I often say to people, like either friends and so forth, and they'll be like, "You're going to go something." And initially, when it first starts, they were like, "You're going what? You're doing what?" Because of course, it was still only, we'll say, early time in life, people were learning about paranormal. But in saying that, everyone just kind of accepted that's everybody has their own hobby, their own interest, and that was fine. But I say, if you sit down, I say to people, you know what? I invite you to come. Sit down. I'll show you some of what I have. You go away and make your own mind up. It's not my place to tell you something is believing or it's not, or right or wrong. I have to say, give me 20, 30 minutes. Make your own mind up.
It's funny because I was exactly the same. Sarah, my wife Sarah, she was into the paranormal way before I was. And not saying I didn't believe it, but you know, when you're watching programs, you know, sometimes you got to be really like careful what you're getting drawn into. But when she used to go on her investigations, I was like, "Oh, you're going to go and play Ghostbusters with your friends?" You know, that's the sort. But then, you know, it's crazy. And then, you know, during the pandemic, Dan put together Portal to the Paranormal, and he was like, "Why didn't you come and, you know, try it out?" And you know what? I'm hooked on it. You know, I'm always looking at video footage. Did we catch this? Did we catch that? Audio? Was this something that we can explain? It's just absolutely great. It's one of the best fields that I've ever got myself involved in, but I never thought, you know, and it's crazy because I've made some of the best friends in this field as well. And what, you know, it's absolutely great.
And I think it's actually great for
most people are friends, I would say.
But I think it's actually great for the mind as well, though, because if you think about it, right, your mind is occupied with what you're doing in your interest. You're focusing in even when you're watching footage. I actually think it's a great thing for your mind.
Yeah.
It is. And you think you're thinking, oh my God, yes, I've heard, I felt, I've seen, what else can we do? Oh my God. But there's a lot more. And then somebody else comes out with, what about this? And I'm like, oh my God, my brain can only take, what I've just learned. And now you're giving me new stuff to do. New stuff to learn. What about, the atmosphere and the boom? And I was like, oh my God. And now we're learning more. And we're only touching the tip of the iceberg, literally, no matter how long we're doing it. And like we've seen, we've heard, we felt.
Correct.
For me, if somebody said to me, do you think the paranormal is real? And the paranormal is a table of everything. UFOs, cryptics, spirits, poltergeist, the whole lot. I believe in some of the table. I don't know if I believe in all of the table. But the ones that I do with the paranormal, do I believe? Yeah, I do. Because even people who would have more evidence than I would say, well, I'm still on the fence. But each to their own of the answer. And everyone has a personal answer.
Right.
Mine would be yes, because I can't explain what I've.
The other thing, though, as well, is don't forget, like I often say, when you're watching back the footage and you see a clip and you kind of go, I remember that clip. I remember being there at that time. So, or we'll say, or you're on location and it happens at that time. You've been in the experience. So it's a very different thing for somebody who's going to watch a 2-second clip or a 5-second clip. It's very different because you've been there. And of course, like everything, your first thing is, hang on, is this, like, for example, if it was a door, is there a fan overhead? Is there wind? Is there air? You're going to look for the natural. But when you do capture things that 100% shouldn't happen, it is a massive win. It's a great thing.
Yeah, definitely. And when you're going into an investigation, like everyone has their sort of routine of how they're going to start the investigation. Do you, with you and your team, coming from a religious background, do you use your religion, faith to do things to protect yourselves, or what's your sort of the starting point for you when you go into imagine you're going into a new location, you don't know enough about, but what do you do to prepare yourself and your team?
Well, I suppose the one thing I've always done, and I suppose it's tradition as well as everything at this stage, is for any location, any investigation, regardless where or how, I will always call in an Archangel Michael to protect us. And I suppose that's the one that gives you, I have great faith in myself. So that gives you great comfort, I suppose, to know you can move forward for the night.
That's it. And I know some teams do a grounding and some don't. I take my Archangel Michael stone with me, if that makes sense. And there's one other two things that I take with me. And I know some people say if you ground yourself, you're not open, so not a lot will happen. So,
and you see, we're very lucky here in Kerry because, like we were talking about religion and grottos, traditional Ireland grottos are everywhere. But there's actually one. There's one here in Kerry, and it's the only one I know of that is actually dedicated to Archangel Michael.
Oh,
so
nice.
when you go in there, you get a wow, because instead of it being the main feature of Our Lady, it's actually a big, massive statue of Archangel Michael. It's a whole well-designated hymn, and of course that for anyone that experiences that place as well, that is a big one. So that going into any location, coming back to your question, going into any location, that is where and what we would do.
Well, I know with my team, Emerald Isle, we don't ground ourselves. Like, we personally probably do it privately, but we don't ground ourselves. And I know people say, you got to ground yourself. And we don't do it just because, we're not going to get anything if we don't ground ourselves. We just don't, we just don't. But in my mind, I kind of protect, if that makes sense, protect myself by putting up a barrier.
Yes, and I suppose it's like everything as well. Everybody has like that their own way, but like that's that's where we would go at it. But I suppose there's a good saying as well that I suppose I go for. Now again, everyone has their own opinion. My fear is I'd nearly fear the living more than the dead.
Oh, geez, 100%. Oh my goodness.
That's the way I look at it. Is I fear the living, the dead. The dead have never harmed me. I'm at this for years. Luckily, I've never had a bad experience.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you ever have a bad experience? Like, there was a question here that Louise was asking earlier. Oh, the Lord, Jennifer. Was what and where was your most memorable or frightening experience? And did you ever go back?
I suppose for me, I suppose my top, I suppose really if I was to look at it, I suppose my top three would be, I suppose, Wicklow Jail. I was down in solitary confinement, and there was a group on 2 floors above, and I didn't know at the time that one of those people in that group was like, go down and get PJ, go down and get PJ. Okay. So of course, unbeknownst to me, I was down below, but it's the most unreal experience. I've never had it since. Do you ever feel someone's at the end of your nose?
Yes.
Somebody's right at your nose to nose, but you can't see them, and you know there's nobody there, but you can't shake that feeling of someone is standing, staring into your face, nose to nose.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the only way to explain it to you is it felt like they just put their head in towards mine.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm a fat person, but I ran. Right? But
I know exactly what you're talking about. I get it.
And the funny thing is, my cheekbone, because I watched back the camera footage of me running. Did I hit off a wall? Did I bang off the stairs? Because luckily it was well covered. But throughout the rest of the night, on the side of my cheek, you could feel the heat from it. And as the night continued, my cheek was getting warmer and warmer and warmer, to the point my whole face was cold, but this one area just seemed to be very hot. And I stayed in a room with 2 other people overnight, but by morning you could see like 3 triangular marks on my cheek.
Oh.
So it was funny. And then I heard, because I go in blank, I like to know nothing about location going in. Obviously, when you repeat the location, you know, but when it's something new, I like to go in blank. I prefer, don't tell me, I don't want to know. Other people can know, everyone has their own way of investigating. For me, I like to go in blank because there's nothing in my mind.
Totally.
So of course, then I heard all about Jack the Jailer afterwards. So that was probably one, because to this day I cannot, as I say, I watch back the footage, I can't figure it out. I don't have big sharp nails. I didn't tear my face. I didn't bang off a wall. I didn't hit off the stairs. I can't explain it. So that was one. Then I suppose another one was in a private location. And this house, first time we did it, we thought nothing. 0, nothing, never go back until we watched the footage. But on a second occasion, we set up the cameras. It's like a Georgian house in Dublin where, you know, underneath the street is like a level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a basement level.
Yep.
So we'd set up the cameras to cover the 3 levels. We were doing a final check before we took a break before starting in. And going up the stairs, there was a friend of mine gone maybe a couple of steps ahead, decided to stop, look at me, and run a couple of steps. And I was like, what's after happening here? And then she burst laughing. She thought it was hilarious that she caught me off guard. But as we were on the stairs, and we were about 3 steps apart, right behind me on the step, it was just like somebody jumped into the air and banged with both feet on the step. Now, the back door was sealed. The front door was locked. Everybody else was in the main room up in the stairs. So I knew there could be nobody and should be nobody behind me.
Don't you love those places?
Oh and actually, funny thing is, later on that night, there's actually a clip. It's on, I think it's probably on Instagram and it's on my website, where you'll see a camera facing a stairs facing upward. And as the night progressed, we watched that camera. Nobody had come up or gone down during the filming stage. And you can actually, we believe, hear a voice going, "Help me." So tied in with the area as well.
It's not crazy. Well, you get, most locations, you always get the word "help me." And like, okay, the locations we go to, you know, what some deaths are just desperate that you always get the word saying, "Help me, help me." And we always ask, you know, what can we do? Tell us what we can do. We will try and help you and so on. And the steps we're talking about, I remember I used to babysit where I live here in Drogheda. and there was these Georgian houses, and I'd babysit in the basement. And you know, when you kind of walk by, you have the railings, and people walk by, and all you can see is feet. You're in the basement, and the ceilings are so high. And I remember sitting there in the rocking chair or playing a computer game or whatever, and I heard this whistling just right beside me, my left side, just whistling 3 tones of a whistle. And I spent about 2-3 hours in the children's bedroom until the parents got home.
But
Yeah,
it is like I often say it's funny the way things happen. Like actually recently there now we did a private house, and it's funny actually. It's the same house I had my first experience in, and
wow.
on the clip, because the typical pattern is movement upstairs like footsteps, which you can hear from downstairs. Then you can hear the footsteps go out to the stairs, down 2 steps, back up 2 steps, and on the hallway and back in. That's like the usual pattern. It's like it's pure residual, usual pattern.
Aye.
So we were doing it. It was, I suppose, maybe only about 2-3 weeks ago. Again, and actually that clip is up there. But on the stairs, you could see the shadow outside the door. We were all in the room. You could see the shadow on the stairs, like as if it's looking in, ready to come in. And at the same time, the cat's ball, the motion ball, went off on the stairs as well. So I had a camera at the end of the stairs facing up, and obviously you can see nobody is there. But of course, we had the personal experience on the other side, being able to see the shadow. So much so that actually Veronica on the team was like, "Oh, she got very unsettled and moved to a different part from looking at it." So it's interesting. Like you're talking, what, 20? Definitely, what, that was about 15. You're talking nearly another 20 years later. Do you know what I mean? More.
Wow.
And the activity is still there.
When you're talking about activity, and a lot of people, you know, will say the same, you know, when things like this happen, like the loud bangs and movements of objects, and I think partly this is the TV world that brings it, but they're very quick to refer to it as something demonic, you know. Now, you know, I've got my beliefs with when it comes to the word demonic, and I'm sure Jenny has, but your thoughts on a demonic entity, you know, when you go into a location, when something makes a loud bang or something happens that is quite unsettling, would you say that's something demonic, or could that just be something as simple as a spirit's pissed off that you're in their space and they just want you to leave, you know?
Yeah, to be honest, I would be very much on that. I would never take it as in maybe they want us to go. Obviously, if you're getting something that's uneasy, you might ask the question of, do they want us to leave this area? But you don't shut down your investigation for the night either, do you know? But I don't buy into straight away something's demonic, because I have to say it must take a lot of energy. If we look at things we've seen or heard over our span of paranormal investigations, something that would take a lot of energy could happen, and then something that might take a small amount of energy. But no, coming back to demonic, I don't really buy into the 100%. But in saying that, I will say there was one round doing Lep Castle in the corridor. Yeah, and there was myself and 2 lady guests. We had a dictaphone on, the camera was on, the K2 was going off in the part of the corridor, but just got this smell of rotting. It was pure rotting smell. It came out of nowhere, lasted maybe, I suppose, it felt like a while, but it was probably only a minute, because of course you're in darkness and you're investigating. And then we did capture an EVP on the dictaphone of a totally different voice on the investigation. So I found, and it was quite. Do you ever get that feeling? Now I've pushed too far, and now I'm in the wrong space. That's the only time. Sorry. Considering the history there.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest I probably felt, because I actually had a guest one time, a lady guest who was actually from the UK, and even in the chapel above, in parts of the castle, she just kept feeling sick. And once she was removed and back down to the ground floor, perfect.
Is it the corridor? Is the corridor on the first floor?
Do you know the way we'll say you have the ground floor, and then you have, we'll say, the next floor up. There's a small corridor off the stairs. It's like one more door up around.
Oh, I do know it.
Yeah, it's quite a small space.
I've been in it. Yeah, I've been in it. Very good audio that we didn't hear at the time, but very intelligent.
Correct. And that's that's the only, I suppose, if you said to me out of them all, that's the one where I kind of went, it's different. You just knew it.
Yeah. I did it that one time, and it was intelligent. We had the cultist box on. We were talking among ourselves. I think one of the girls was doing a math up in our head, and the answer came through the cultist box, but we didn't hear it. We just heard it on the recorder when I was doing the audio work, and the answer of the math was given to you. Yeah,
And actually, I even had a camera move inside there on the tripod. So it was secured on the ground. It's a wooden floor. It was flat.
Yeah.
You're talking 10 hours, no movement.
Yeah.
And you can actually see the camera gets moved in one stage in that area.
Yeah, I do know it.
So it's now I find that area is hit or miss, but that's the one I felt, okay, this is where I feel it.
Oh my gosh. Because I did it that one time about 6 years ago, and as many times as I've been back, I was just too busy doing, you know, when I have to write a list, or sometimes, right, we're gonna do this, do that, do this, and then something happens that you don't forget, but it skips over what you had planned out. But you relearn, you never plan your night out. You can put down ideas and, you know, and whatnot.
You can start off with a plan in your head, but you can't write a script for an investigation because you're flying by the seat of your pants of what are things happen.
And
so you can,
it's brilliant. And like, I know I was on the location last night, and we were supposed to leave early. Oh, an hour, 2 hours, 5 o'clock in the morning. Jenny comes in, rings my daughter. Can you open the door? I didn't bring my key because I didn't think I'd be home by 5 in the morning. But that was unplanned. But I tell you, of 6 years of doing this location, it was the first night we had got nothing. Absolutely nothing, which is part and parcel of the course. We get that. It's unusual.
But I suppose I've been lucky. I've never, I don't think I've walked away from any investigation with zero. I might have one or two where, like, literally maybe one small piece, or even you might question the piece. Now, unfortunately, sometimes if you're so careful with those with it, there was one investigation footage to be thrown out. But I suppose one that I feel I missed out on is I did the Myrtles plantation in Louisiana.
I was just going to ask you that one. Yeah.
Now that was I just happened to book my family living in New York. Went down for Mardi Gras to New Orleans, and I was like, I cannot be so close and not go see this. But my friends were like, no way. You go. We're not going with you.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was like it's one of those moments. It's what did I say? Something or burst. So I was like, I have to go.
Pictures.
So I hired a car, drove out there, got there, did the day tour, but didn't realize I was actually probably the only guest that night because the caretaker was staying in the lodge, not in the house. And of course, being on holidays or traveling light, but as we said, we always carry some bit of equipment with us. So set up my camera, tripod, tried to raise a bit of energy for the night. But the best part came when I was sleeping. So I was in the starting room. I was there, sound asleep. I'd fall asleep, called it a night. Did you ever just wake up and feel like someone has either sat in the bed, you just felt the pressure? And I start banging the bed, kind of going, what is it? I didn't know, was it? And when you wake up, you're stupid, you don't know. Is it an animal? What's after happening? I didn't think paranormal. So there was nothing there. But then when I finished up that morning, they said to me, we meant to tell you set your alarm for around 3. Chloe usually appears around 3 a.m. Went home, watched my footage, and sure enough, while I was sleeping, not long afterwards, there's the little girl's voice going, 1, 2.
No.
And
wow.
There was only myself there. And like, the tone, when you're in investigations, you're watching back footage, you're always listening for tone. The tone is always very different. So here we are with a very light tone, very much a young girl sounding, and it's kind of like the humming of a 1, 2.
Wow! And of all songs to sing, is that one?
That must have been a cool piece of evidence that you've captured. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was, and like that is, I went away thinking, like you, like people, like we all do. I actually left thinking, got a couple of hits on my K2, had a personal experience of someone was on, but I never knew I had that. until, of course, the holiday was over and I reviewed the footage.
Oh my
But,
gosh. Yeah.
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 So
Because I know
that's,
when you left the location last night, or before we left it, we did a playback, the speaker listened to audio. It was like, Jen, why? What's happening? We've asked you a few questions as well. You got this one very faint. I said, do you want us to leave? And a very faint, but you do hear it. Yes.
yeah.
But it was different. It was so different. And I get it that you don't, every night is different. We get it. We get it. It doesn't have to be drummed into it. We get it. But it was different last night. I would have walked around by myself, and I don't walk around anywhere by myself. No. No, I
I was
don't.
on a private location in Carlow, actually. It was a friend of ours arranged it. And it's probably one where, like, it was the middle of setup. I was at cameras and so forth. The way everybody's pottering about, get the setup done, get her ready for the night ahead.
Yeah.
You just want to get into it. And all the same house, because the doors were open, there's no furniture, and it was a period house, so it echoed, and all you could hear was like a female scream. So the rest took to go, but of course I was still in the middle of a camera trying to start it, and I was stop. Stop. And they all just froze like a camera, and are just like Joe statues. And I was like, but that was another good one. And of course, we got a great EVP there as well. But it was one that we heard with our ears. It was a great personal experience.
DVP, I tell you, DVP. And especially if you get it and you hear it, and then you have it on audio.
Yes.
It's perfect. Very quickly, I remember one night I was sitting here, my couch was back there a few years ago. My children weren't here, so Mama had a little gin and tonic, and I said, Billy Big Balls, let's take out the recorder. And I did. I even have a recorder in my handbag just in case. And I'm like, I know you. I know you're here. I've seen you. I've heard you. I know you're here. Blah, 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 blah. And then I heard my name, Jenny. And I was like, did you say something? Did you try and say something? And I still have that audio. And so it was a DVP along with the EVP. I was never so quickly by saying sorry, and I went to bed. But I think I know who it is. And because I'm talking about it and I have a bad smell, I think it's just my dog who farted. But right for a second. Sorry.
That's the joys of animals.
I have 4 dogs, I tell you. I mean, it's like butane, for Christ's sake.
But your animals can be a great scent as well, of course.
Listen, my 4 dogs are just spoiled and just think we don't have to act like dogs because mommy will do everything for us. And only if I could hand feed them, they would expect me to hand feed them. I don't think they could detect anything because they're too small.
See, I often say, like, I know there's been a lot of controversy over animals with paranormal of how they work, and some groups have tried them. It's something I haven't personally myself, but it's interesting. The one thing I did note is, unfortunately, we had a bereavement in my home. And when I got my dog was a rescue and love him to bits. The minute he came, his first day went straight up to that spot and just lay down exactly on the spot.
Oh my God.
And I thought it was the freakiest thing of, there's a new dog in the house. He just went straight up the stairs to the point of where the person passed and just lay down on his 2 paws.
Wow.
That's
a big coincidence. Big coincidence.
It is. But on the sort of the same night, we're talking about, you're saying about what dogs, can dogs actually see things in the paranormal that we can't? It's sort of flipping it a little bit, going to children then. A lot of children, as they're growing up, they come up with these imaginary friends, and being in the paranormal, it sort of opens your mind up even more to, is it more than just an imaginary friend? What are your thoughts? Do you think children are born and they're so open that that these imaginary friends are more than just what a lot of parents would say is just a fake friend? Do you think it's something more that they're seeing as well?
I actually agree with what you're saying. I do believe personally myself, because how many times down through the years do you hear of the child who becomes an adult and things they said as a child they still remember as an adult going, I remember seeing them, I remember hearing them, or describing someone they never met. So I think children are so open and innocent versus, I think when we grow older, We change, we doze, we question. I do think children are definitely more open because they don't see danger, they don't see fear in it. No,
That's
No,
it.
yeah. Good.
That's it. I remember my friends of mine and the grandson. He was about 6, I don't know, something like that. And he'd always talk about his granddad had passed away. He never met him, and he was talking about his granddad. He would say the same things about his granddad. Would say granddad's saying what granddad liked to eat. Oh, granddad didn't like this, and they're like, you weren't even born. How would you know? And so on and so on. And I had they had a collie. They had a border collie. They had 2 other collies. And one of the border collies was going through glass to get this boy. This dog used to be my dog. And my friend, that's still my family friends to this day. So I was always up in the house and whatnot and so on. And so if I didn't see it, I'd be like, oh, you're dramatizing it. Let me tell you, I know this dog. I rescued this dog. This dog was in the conservatory. They had to pull the curtains over, but the dog got behind the curtains and could see this boy. And he left spit on the glass and his teeth was banging off it to get to this boy. And I'm like, Blue, stop. And I work with animals, so I know the change of behavior. And I'm like, Blue, what the frick is going on? And I'm like looking at the boy and I'm looking at Blue and I'm like, oh my God, down, boy, down. And that's to the boy, not my dog. And so when Blue got out of the conservatory, he beelined for this boy and bit him on the leg. Not a bad bite, but just like he kind of underneath, bruising underneath the skin. So I was like, oh my God. So anyway, when the boy was leaving and so on, and I can't say what I was thinking. Yeah, probably, no, I'm not going to say what I thought. My dog. But when the boy was leaving and he was saying goodbye to everyone, I was saying, bye. He goes, bye, Jenny. See you in heaven. Well, I'm glad he didn't say hell. It's still too early to say that just yet. He goes, bye, Jenny. See you in heaven. And I'm like, what? Bye. Out the door. Close the door. Lock the door. Now he has no idea about any of those things at all. It's like he's a totally different person. He's now in his 20s. But my God, did he have that when he was younger. And my dog wanted him. My dog wanted him badly. So I don't know what it was or why it was. We would say dogs or animals senses something. It couldn't have been a bad one.
They do say this. Like and it is. I suppose it's something that there's not enough research done into. I suppose really as well.
Mm.
Again, it's
Natalie.
Each their own. Everyone has their own way.
That's Natalie saying. Yeah, that's it. Natalie saying, children's eyes, their retina, as we get older, gets thicker too. So we see less. My Specsavers told me that, and I said my glasses are not working. She goes, Jenny, how old are you? What's your date of birth? And I told her, and she goes, oh, it's just because you're getting older. So yeah, your retina does get thicker as you get older, and we see less, which is one
good. As I'm getting older, there's a lot of me getting thicker.
Me too. These glasses are on me, and everything is thicker. Thank God the camera is just from the.
It's interesting actually because one thing I went through a stage because I'm deaf in one ear, so I had a hearing aid for quite a long time.
Aye.
Now I gave up wearing the hearing aid because I actually broke it on a night out drinking.
Well, hey, you wouldn't be Irish if you didn't.
So that was €2,000 down the drain. But coming back to this, interesting. Even on investigations, I found it didn't do any benefit. If anything, it hampered me, which was interesting. Really? Yeah, because I would have thought with my hearing aid and the way, of course, it's working with, say, crowds, bars, so forth. Because that was my hardest part of hearing people was background noise, and I always thought my hearing aid that it would be a benefit, but if anything, it actually was a hindrance. So when I used to do investigations, I used to remove it.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, because sometimes, as we all know, sometimes you'll hear in a moment as you're doing an investigation, you'll hear it at that time, but then there's times you don't, and that's why we have to have the recording because, of course, it's a different level.
Absolutely.
But the hearing aid made no difference.
I had a girl on my team before, and she didn't have the cochlear. My twin has the cochlear, and she would listen to some of my audio, and she's amazing at doing it. And I know it was like a different frequency of hearing, especially with the cochlear. But the girl I had on my team before, she was deaf. But we would do audio together. And she would hear what I don't hear. So we combined it together. So, I mean, and there's a deaf paranormal team in America as well. And they're phenomenal. And people say, oh, this girl said to me, can I join even though I'm deaf? And I'm like, do you have eyes? Do you have legs? Yes, of course you can join. Of course, absolutely. Anyone can join. Anyone can join if they're joining a crazy team, but anyone can join, literally. Interesting.
And that's the thing. It's, once they have the passion to go for it, absolutely. Why not?
Do it. Absolutely do it. It's there for everybody. Absolutely for everybody.
It's definitely a field that anyone can be involved in. And I think, you know, if you look at it, everyone, like, if you imagine someone with autism, their mind thinks differently to the way we do. So, you know, just imagine the kind of things that they may be able to pick up that we might not even think of picking up. Do you know what I mean? It is a field that everyone isn't, you know, that can get involved in. It will be great. But talking about, like, you were saying about your hearing aid as a piece of equipment, it was a hindrance to you. Now, equipment overall has evolved over the years. You know, it's even gone into the step of now there's ICT apps on the mobiles. You know, usually I would ask, what is your favorite piece of equipment? But what I want to do is just sort of flip that and say, is there a piece of equipment that you've seen that you really don't like, that you don't get on with, that you just don't think it should be in the paranormal or used in any way?
Good question.
Very good question. I suppose for me, mine's very
shame, I tell
anyway,
you, I just listen to Nando.
Like it is a very good question. Everybody has different levels of equipment. Like, as I said, I'm such a great parent. On a Disney holiday in America, I went shopping for RIM pods. Do you know what I mean? So everybody has their own equipment. But I suppose the only piece for me that I wouldn't be a big fan of, and it's just me personally, would be dowsing rods.
Oh wow!
Because I suppose I have fat hands, I have big hands. I'm always aware of pressure on my thumbs.
Yeah.
So dowsing rods for me, because I suppose I love when I get an EVP in an empty room, when I get an object that moves in an empty room there's been no disturbance. Yeah. So I suppose for me, I'm always wary of, even for myself personally, through my own not realizing what I'm doing, the dowsing rod. One thing, even though I have it in my kit, and guests have used
me too.
Some of my team actually use them, and they find them fantastic. Me personally, for me, I suppose it's the one piece I wouldn't care for, even though I do have it.
That's it. I have a pair here, and I don't use them because I like to document evidence, video, audio. I'm a documenter. And have I used them before? Yes, I have. Have they? Oh, there's my girl. Have they done that? I'm like, huh? What? And I have the video, and it was like, and it wasn't me holding them. Some other girl was holding them, but it was pointing to the direction of my friend, which was standing behind her at the frame of the door. And I'm like, what? And oh my God. But I have it on video. But again, somebody's holding it. You experience
now, in saying that, I will say I've seen a good few people now with the new ones where they're like LED light up, so you can actually see them very much clearer. So I will say that I wouldn't mind getting a pair of them, putting them in the kit, just to try them out anyway.
The LED ones.
Yeah, there's like, we'll say they're holding, the whole leg is LED. So of course, when you're working in the dark, fantastic.
Do you know what I do? Do you know what I do? But like the Boo Bear, because I'm cheap but cheerful and efficient. Like the Boo Bear, I will cut a hole in it and stick a REM pod in, because I'm cheap and cheerful of it, because I don't, 250 or 200, I don't know how much they are, but I would probably rip a hole in his belly or his arse and stick a REM pod in it and see if it goes off. And then with the LED, with the dowsing rods, I'd probably just get a tape of LED lights and, use them too. I'm a bad person. I like to save money.
I hear you loud. But then again, if you think about it, we all like to save money because it can be costly. But if you actually went away and counted up your kit down through the years, you have a lot of money in it.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
But actually, speaking of the REM pod, we had a session in Redwood Castle on the Great Hall in the middle, and we had the REM pod on the table. Do you know where all the images of the castle are laid out?
Yeah.
Now, team are all well away from it, well back, and actually that clip is there as well. we're getting interactions and all at the time, and their input is actually responding in that session.
It's responding at that time. I was just reading and saying
Yeah.
that it responded at that session.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Indeed.
it's the ramp pod is good. Sometimes there was only one time that I was like, oh my God, you know, and I was doing a live on it. And sometimes it's good to catch a live on it. And it kind of was about a year ago, I think 2 years ago, but it was like, oh my gosh, it kind of made me go once or twice that I was thinking, you know, okay, but I'm very much video and audio. There is a question up here that I want to get to you quickly. It is from Natalie. Have you ever been to the Athenaeum in Enniscorthy?
No, I haven't. Well, I'll have to go. I'll have to go there.
We were there last week. We were there last Saturday night. Yeah, it was quite good. Yeah, it was good. We have video footage when we're sleeping up on the stage, and we were asleep. So there's a lot of things going on. But that will be put up due course when we have it together. Louise, God bless Louise, she does the videos for the YouTube. Thank you, Louise. Because I'm kind of like, I'm just here to look pretty and, you know, and show up. Sorry, Louise, I'm joking.
And you're doing a great job at it.
Thanks very much.
Just to go back then, you were talking about the dowsing rods, that you're worried about, you know, the physical contact that we have. We can subconsciously, without realizing, we're moving it ourselves. Do you think that would be the same sort of, you know, thing with like the spirit board or the Ouija board? You know, we're using our hands. Now, some people say that people that are using the Ouija board are moving the planchette, but it's because there's something making us move it, you know, or is it just someone, they're just choosing to move it to where they want to go with it? What's your thoughts with that?
Well, I suppose first and foremost anyway is you'd really want to know who you're doing it with. Like if you were to enter a location or you were to join up with people or you had guests on it, you need to be able to trust everyone that's involved in that circle, because you could have that one person that might be taking it as serious as someone else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think trust would be a huge one on the board. I never look like as if I have trust issues, but to be clear, I do think that you would want to know who's on the other side, because like that, again, it is a case of it's 50-50, half one, half the other. But I think the biggest thing is the people who are doing it.
Mm.
And just to, you know, follow on from that, with the Ouija board, now I know like Hollywood and the filmmakers, they've made the Ouija board into something like, if you use it, you're bringing something from another portal, you're doing this, you're doing that. Do you believe that the Ouija board does bring in things that are not from this world? Or do you think it's just what the movies portray? What do you think about it?
I suppose it's like everything. You have, as we say through movies, you're going to have ideas that are in set in your mind. You're always thinking. So I suppose coming again, looking back at, we'll say, our background, our religion and so forth.
Mm.
Now, Ouija board, have I partook in them? Yes. There's no point in saying I haven't. Do I use them? No. Do I have them on my investigations? No. Which doesn't mean I won't do one again, but
Look at my mouse pad.
I suppose like
I'm conjuring everything in my house using this on my mouse pad, for crying out loud. It's no wonder I'm sitting at 2 a.m. with a gin and tonic getting DVPs in my house.
It's okay. Friends of mine gave me glasses with Ouija boards on them. So I think everybody associates the Ouija board with paranormal, but I suppose for me, I'd be ignorant enough to, my knowledge level would be ignorant enough to it, that I suppose I haven't used it enough to qualify it.
I gotcha. That's what Natalie's saying. Do you do a Ouija board blindfolded next time and see what happens?
Yes, and you see, I love when that's the one thing with me I love is like that. An empty room, objects moving, or an empty room, your EVP. But again, like that, blindfolded, or we'll say writing with your left hand blindfolded. I do like when there's an element of taking it away from your perception of what you see and how you're doing it. Okay. Like, you know, I do like we've often done with, say, the blindfolded left hand. So I do think, take away an element of subconscious. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Quite interesting. Even though, like you, PJ, I have done the Ouija board, but not on location. I've done it back in the day, you know, and The only thing I worried about, because we were teenagers, whether we seen the Gardaí pulling up with the spotlight on us on an empty school, and we ran, and the only thing was, did someone break the glass? No one did. So we were all like the next morning in this grass up to our necks, looking for this glass to break it. So my friend said, "Yeah,
I will tell you.
didn't."
I will tell you a story though that, and look, people can take it with a pinch of salt. It's not for me to say, make anyone believe, but a lot of people close to me know this story, and it's always something that stuck with me as well. There's an abandoned asylum in Ireland, and I was very lucky to have been given access to it for a good walkabout, go through the history, even to the mortuary part of it, every part of it. Now, as we were going around, there was a lot of broken glass, and I had a piece in my hand while we were talking. Don't ask me why or how. I ended up putting it in my pocket.
Okay.
And never thought no more about it. And next thing, every night I started having these mad nightmares of I was at a window trying to break out through the window. And it was continuing every night. I said, what's drawing this? And do you ever get a flashback? And he said, that bloody piece of glass. And I actually, it was the only thing, but it spooked me. I took it to a cemetery actually. And I just left it there, said a prayer and so forth. Never to this day have I had that nightmare again.
So would you class it as a form of an attachment that you had then for that period of time?
I don't know what, I'm putting it down to the glass is what I'm putting it down to, because it was only like a tiny piece. So when you catch something into like a piece of paper, whatever, you're walking around, you're sticking in your pocket, you don't thinking you'll throw it in the bin shortly.
But,
Obviously brought it.
Yeah. But that piece of glass had something attached to it, and because you've taken it, attached onto you, and the way it was, like, say the spirit was communicating for you through your sleep then, and were you dreaming what the bad dreams of what they've experienced then until you parted with that glass? You know, could that have been what's happened with you?
Yeah, it's about the only one I can't really explain subconsciously or not. But see, that's what I say. That's why we're paranormal investigators. We're all the time investigating to see if we can get the answers or if we can get more.
And we think no one would. Someone said to me, my friend Tracy said to me, and she was mind messing with me, but her question was genuine. And then, because you think you have it figured, you think you have a little bit figured. Oh, well, next page, let's move on to the next one. We have this one figured out. Oh, no, the page went back to the beginning because she said, Jenny, what happens if we're the ones who's dead? And they're the ones alive. Well, we're investigating the alive people. But we're the ones who've moved on. And I say, Tracy, my brain can't even process that right now. You know, no.
But you know, I was just thinking there while you were talking, it's just, you brought me back a bit to your question about attachment, actually. Last November, I think it was, I went to Canada and Vegas. And I actually went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum.
Wow. Okay.
Now, oh my God, I wanted to say it the right way, respectfully. While there's amazing things to see, obviously there's a lot of tragedy for people's lives. I'm trying to be very PC in what I say.
Yeah.
But the person that came with me is not a paranormal investigator, but luckily enough, they came along. And after being in there, they did not sleep for nearly a month. They had a month of very nightmares after being in there. But of course, there's a lot of things in that museum. Like you have the debunk box. There's an awful lot of things there. And actually, there was even one part by Dr. Zvonian's death fan. I even could swear to I got touched.
Yeah.
I felt just like a tap on the hand.
There's a lot of heavy energy, negative energy in that museum. I know a girl that went as well, and she said she was shaken after it.
Yeah, and like it's not a walkabout museum.
Well, I don't know if I do. Would you do it, Nando?
You'd have to do
it. See, with me, I'm still in the early stages, even though I've been doing this now for a good few years. That I've still got my limits where I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to be pushing past that just yet.
Nando, listen, I've just pushed past that. I went to the bathroom on my own. I'm at this field more years than I can have had hot dinners, even though I don't look like it. But I've had doing this more years than I've had hot dinners. And There's some locations I just won't go to the bathroom on my own, but I'm getting better. Actually, I am actually getting better at doing it.
But I think a lot of paranormal investigators,
Mm.
when you're on location, the lights are out, and someone has to go to a toilet. A lot of people do go in twos, and bear in mind, not every location has power. Like,
No, there's we did a location. It's called Nuncross Farm in Dartmoor.
Yeah, I
And this
remember.
location had no live electricity in there. And when we got down to the cottage, there was no signal for the phones or anything. And do you know what? As soon as everyone went to bed, I went to bed. I did not move until the daylight. And there was stuff going on around me as well. Like definitely, it was like shadows walking past the windows. And all the girls slept in one room. Some of the lads went upset, and I left in the dining room area on my own, and I spent the whole night shitting myself. It was awful, absolutely awful. But
I was, we got access to a castle up the country, and there was a group of people with us. Now, for all intents and purposes, when we bed down, there was one door. The door was sealed on the inside with a wooden beam. And next thing, all you could hear, it was like the place was being ransacked underneath you. Tables being thrown, chairs being thrown. And we knew the door was closed. So, of course, we are thinking, my God, paranormal. And it took me, I could hear it clear as day. And I started calling people one by one, going, hello, do you hear it? Do you hear it? And, of course, there is always one that has to go to the toilet in the middle of it. There's always one.
No.
So I said, right, I'll go with you on condition that after you've been to the bathroom, we're now going to go and check to see what this is.
Yeah.
The noises stopped. There wasn't one thing out of place. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. Now, watching back the footage on return visits, you would always hear footsteps on stairs, which we all know is a common occurrence, but you could actually hear like the stones moving on the stairs. So that was, of course, a good one. But I had a wildlife camera, and you know the way there's 3 sensors on the screen, there's 3 sensors.
Yeah. I have one. Yeah.
One to the side and one to the center.
Yeah.
Now I had it at the end of a battlement. There was a long corridor leading to the battlement, right?
Mm.
Now, you would have to come in that corridor because there's no exit door behind the camera. You'd have to come in full view, walk down this to turn the camera to move it. The camera is taking photographs. There is nobody in any of the photographs. And the camera goes from facing down the hallway to turned in facing the wall.
Oh, wow.
And I often say, how did that camera face the wall, but yet nobody was in the pictures leading up to that moment?
I find those trail cameras, I have one too. And, you know, it's a piece of equipment that gets abandoned sometimes because I kind of like...
Because I haven't had much luck with it since. Like, it's hit or miss.
Well, I was going, like, my friend was saying to me, Jen, I've got like 100 pictures on my trail camera and I've never gone through it. So I went through them and there's figures in it and whatnot. And I said, oh, let me have a wee look at mine. There's over 1,700 pictures on my trail camera that I've used that I've never looked at. So I said, right, because I don't have enough audio and video footage to go through, let's add another 1,700 pictures on a trail camera to go through. Half them could be me going, you know, those fucking images when you're kind of looking, you know, you're looking at the camera and it's like, is it working? And then you have your blur up and your arse looking face and the camera, you know, there's probably about 700 of them of my face doing that. But the rest of it, I don't know. So that's one piece of equipment that is coming back out to say, okay, let's pay this one more attention.
Yeah, because I've been using it, I suppose, for definitely maybe 5-6 years, give or take. 3 occasions it's worked for me, as in that was one. A second was actually in Leap Castle, in the second floor. Third thing was actually in that private house that I was talking about to help me. The ceilings of Georgian House in Dublin way higher than standard.
Yeah.
Two pictures. There was several taken, but in 2 pictures, one after another, it's like something dark and black was coming over a bed where there was 2 ladies sleeping. It's in 2 frames. Now, judging the height of the door to the height of the shadow, it's really high. It's up there, and it nearly even looks like this. I know it's not, but it nearly looks like, do you know that sieve that Jet
I'm
uses?
just going to go sort the dog out quickly. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
That has to be done.
The dog, yeah. Lucy, little Lucy. So what were you saying about there was what did it look like?
Yeah, so it looked like, death, the way they have the scythe? Or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, the
It
sieve.
looked like that.
Yeah. Not the
It looked
sieve.
like that coming over them. I probably have the wrong word for it. I can't think of it.
I don't know if anyone knows it, because I know the one is like, it's like, I won't say it's like useful. It's used for cutting wheat or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. But it's like everything. Equipment varies. Like, for example, Redwood, that you know as well,
Aye.
you've been there a lot. We had walkie-talkie on the middle floor.
Aye.
We were up on the top floor. Everybody in the same room. Now,
Mhm.
you have to push the button hard at the side of my walkie-talkies to speak through them. And obviously, the minute you push the button, it does that ring through.
Yeah. Did you?
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So again, the walkie rang through,
Sorry.
but there was nobody in that room.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Because we tried to do that, and we have baby monitors. Oh, that's the one it's called now. The Sick. Is that what it's called? The Sick? No, I'm probably saying it wrong. That's the name of it.
Sith. The Sith.
Yeah, like the Grim Reaper, what he carries, his tool, like his like. I know we all carry equipment with us. The Grim Reaper, that's the one. Yeah, Nando. You know, like a long stick and it's kind of like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what he's. I can't even say it. So,
Between the three of us, I think we've all been caught up in that one.
Well, do you know what? You had got us there now.
we're all just thinking of that one word. We know what it is, but it's trying to get that one word out.
Good old Google, and just.
And actually, a question. Oh, sorry, my apologies.
You go
ahead. You go ahead.
Come here. I haven't shut up since I started.
Listen, that's good. That's
the whole point. We want you to talk. But there was a question that I was thinking about as I was just sorting out the dog, actually. We're talking about spirits, about locations, but on a personal level, if one of, like, say, when we go through things, we go through processes as we get older, things happen. Do you think when we're going through like a hard time, that our hard time calls on the spirits? Like, for example, I'll give you, for me, last year I had 2 blood clots after an operation, and basically during that time I was like sort of in and out of consciousness. But I remember vividly that it was like a dream that I was in a garden and my auntie appeared to me. Now I can relate to that because she loved her garden and she was just sat next to me. Do you believe that when we're going through struggles, we actually can call upon people, well, without knowing that we've done it, but they can feel our struggles and then they come to us? Do you believe that spirits have the ability to come and go as they please?
I do, to a degree. Like I always say, the thing with the problem we have, which is why we're investigators, is there's no rhyme or reason. You can't predict what's going to happen. You can't guarantee what's going to happen. And spirits can be attached to a person, as we all know, as well as anything else. So it would make sense that if you had a strong connection with somebody and they would have comforted you when they were alive, that's within their energy, that they could still do it again. Like, and I suppose the way I would relate to that is like we lost 3 together in a very short space of time during COVID. And there was and because it was all like within a short time scale of literally weeks, there was a part where the sadness got so much for us. And then like that, we had an event where you could just feel like that comforting.
Yeah.
But I also remember as well, there was an elderly lady when I was very young. And after she had passed, I don't know, was it subconscious dreaming or was it just thinking? I could swear to you that she was standing in the room calling her son's name.
Oh, wow.
And I could swear that to you. And funny enough, like it's one thing. Do you know the way certain things just stick with you? So coming back to your question, I always say, do you know what? If somebody's energy is that strong to a person, they are even attached to a person, we can't say no.
That's it. But yeah, and I think with when people say I remember being in Lep Castle and we were in the banquet room, and one of the people said to me, Jen, call out for your friend, it's coming up to her anniversary. She'd passed away. And I'm like, no, why would I call out for my friend? One, she's not in Lep Castle, and her, I just don't do that to her. But whatever happened made me change my mind. I said, fine, okay, I'll do it. So I'm calling out, her name, and I said, when I go and visit you, what do I take with me? We had the spirit box on, but we didn't hear anything on the spirit box at all. And thank you, love. And so we let it go, and that was the end of it. They did hear me being called, but it was a BITCH. And
they knew you well then, didn't they?
I'm home.
I'll tell you what, she's gonna have a go at me after the show. You watch.
Nando, I have written everything you said to her.
I'm sure she's used to that. I'd say now between the pair of you are well able for each other.
Oh, you have no idea. No idea, literally. So yeah, what was that? Yeah, so anyway, I was called a BITCH. So the person said, hey, did you call Jenny a bitch? Can you call her that again? So you hear nothing, you only hear BITCH on the spirit box. But when I listen back to the audio, you will hear underneath. So it's two different frequencies. You hear underneath saying, hey, Jenny, you're a, and then we only hear the word BITCH on the spirit box. But getting back to, when I was calling out for my friend, what do I take with me when I visit you? No one heard it, and that was it. We moved on. So when I was doing audio, and I remember my computer was up in my bedroom at the time, and I dropped my pen or I picked something up on the floor, and so this part of the audio was coming up, and I'm like, we didn't hear anything. We got a response. Oh my gosh, did we get a response? And it's not often that I'm made speechless. It was a rare moment. It happened.
And what was?
Did you hear me there? Did I freeze?
Yeah, you froze for a minute then.
Did I freeze? Probably Neve. But I was saying, like, I was speechless, which is not often, but Nando, you weren't there to see it, that I was speechless. Haven't been since.
That first.
I know. I'm glad it didn't happen again. Make me speechless. But so when I asked her the question, and then you heard this, dogs. And I take my two big dogs over to see when I go visit my friend in the grave. And I stopped what I was doing and I looked up and I'm like, well, what the frick? But I didn't say frick. I said a lot of other things, but frick. And I put my hand in my head in my hands, and I'm like, what? Because in that moment, you really want validation that this is real, what we're doing.
Right.
We've heard, we've seen, we've felt, we've heard it from everyone else, but our close people.
And you see, that's the thing you're looking for. Like I think when you're in paranormal, either people assume your own relatives you're going to see or hear, or people might feel they might be uncomfortable to call for them. Yeah. And I think it's an individual situation, I suppose, to each person. Like, for example, I suppose I'll put mine out there. For my mom, was, of course, her situation was she knew it was coming. She knew, like, she was given 2 months, but lasted a year and two, so she had plenty of time. But she said, I'm going to rattle the chains. Bring chains, and I'm going to rattle the chains. You'll know I'm there when you hear the chains rattling.
That's brilliant.
And it was funny because, like, she'll actually be past 3 years this month. And
man.
And I went, oh my God. It dawned on me in our last investigation in Redwood, I have never brought the chains. It totally slipped. The one main thing, and I brought them to Redwood the last time. Actually, whereas the clip of the cat's ball went off, the chains are actually hanging there beside it. But it's one thing I completely forgot was to bring the chains. Because they weren't in my kit before.
Oh my God. Oh, that's, I mean, when are you back in Redwood? Well, not when are you back. You're going back to Redwood. You're going to do it the next time you go back. Yeah,
well, I'm like that now for Halloween, where we're actually going to do a 2-nighter for Halloween there.
Oh, I love it.
That'd be cool.
I love it. It's amazing in Redwood. The only thing I don't like about Redwood is the stairs. Like, I moan about the stairs. That's the only thing. I got knees in the back that are not like 24 anymore. No. You hear something. It's not the floorboard, it's my knees.
In fairness to the owner, she doesn't, but I find Lep stairs.
How does she do it? Do you find Lep harder?
I do from a stairs point of view. I think it's like when you get to the bloody chapel on top, it's like you're like
yeah,
good now.
I'm like that from one flight. The ones in Redwood, I mean, we said we'll take the we call the red tile stairs. You know, it's easier. No, it's not. You could throw an egg at my arse cheek the next day and it would crack because it's solid, because of the workout you're getting done. And I'm just saying what it is about Castle Stairs. It's a workout. It's a workout.
Have you done Lep Castle many times?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Have you ever tried laying down? Well, something we tried up there was to the chapel, everybody else downstairs, lay on the ground with one monitoring you filming, and ask them to come forward and walk towards you, because you know it's all gravel on the ground.
Yes.
And we actually could hear the footsteps coming over, just moving
I
along.
love it.
Wow.
Love it. Yeah. And do you get that on audio?
Yeah. Now I will say with the previous team I was with as well, we actually got. There was one section where we counted everybody in a live system. There was nobody on the stairs. 10 people were counted for, but yet you could actually hear the footsteps on the stairs, but there was nobody on the stairs. Sean was in his part of the house.
Yeah.
There was 5 downstairs. There was 5 upstairs in the bloody chapel. So if 10 were counted for, and Sean, who's on the stairs, and we had the stairs.
Yes.
But like that, we've had that in Redwood as well. Like even in Redwood, we've had like Eva and Leo. You would hear the footsteps coming right into the chairs. A good one, actually, I say as well, is we used 2 sets of battery operated lights in the ground floor of Redwood.
Aye.
We asked for one set to more or less dim down and quench, to brighten the other. Now, bear in mind, this is battery, not electric, and it was giving us the answers to how we'd asked, as in removing the light from the lights.
That's brilliant.
Now, it only happened once. We've tried it again since, it hasn't. But again, it's the ground floor. Now, bear in mind that ground floor area where we always go to, like yourself, I'm sure.
Aye.
Like we've had the car movement on the corner. We've had the cat's ball light. We've had the photograph knocked down. The footsteps walking in. That section always seems to be very active.
That first floor, the ground floor.
The ground floor, in the very ground floor. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There was a question in my mind and it's just literally jumped out of it. Oh my
Don't worry,
God.
it happens to me every day.
It's going to drive me insane, because, and I was going to write it. Oh, yes, I have it. Oh my God, my brain is not foggy just yet. The priest room. How did you find it? I've seen a video.
Oh my God.
I have seen the video. Yeah.
And it was so great to get back. It was my previous investigation. I actually got the EVP death. It was just very pronounced, and I always hated it because there was masks on, because the room at times there was people with breathing. So I was like, oh. But the last time we were there, as me and you were talking about the priest room, and I was like, don't tell me, because that's how I was like, don't tell me.
Didn't say anything until you had finished it. Yeah. Until you did a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and like absolutely, what a room, and what a capture you got.
Wasn't that just?
That was a great capture.
Crazy, because it was the first time we've ever done that room, and I think Lou has it ready to put up, because we like to have everything together. We are like backdated, but when you have backdated with audio and video. But I think Lou has it ready to put it up. And I know she's working in the morning, so she's probably asleep now. But that one has to go up. That one has to go up.
We're not finished our full reveal of that as yet either. And there's actually another part of, like, we had the camera, will say, when you go in the door to the right, now obviously there is a nest farther in on the ledge.
Aye.
But you can hear no movement of twigs, no movement of birds. Now I can see it watching a big screen. I don't know how it would portray somebody looking at a mobile phone, but the camera gets clicked at one stage while we're getting other stuff in the room, and you can actually see it jump up and down in the frame.
Could you see that? This is in the priest room?
In the priest room.
Is that your first time doing that room?
No, I'd done it before, and it's my first time doing it now in a long time. It had it closed.
Yes, it was our first time doing it. Yeah.
But like that, I'd done it the last time I'd been in there because with a previous wood like that, we got the death inside there.
Wow.
But you can feel the energy in there.
I have to say, when I walked into it, I actually said to Lou, and I said, I'm not too okay in here. I'm not too comfortable in this room. I think maybe because the ceilings were so high, or it was just a huge room, bedroom. And I just didn't get that okay feeling in it. I think I would have
Yes.
sat on my own eventually. But and my sense is sometimes works, and sometimes it doesn't. And Louise has it up. Louise has it up. I have the lady singing up on the YouTube, but I didn't put it up where you can hear the footsteps and someone moving around in the room. So that's up on YouTube. So I'll get that up on the Emerald Isle page. How did I not see that, Louise?
And the other thing with that room is, bear in mind, did you see the clip where the cat's ball moved by us?
We did, yeah.
But if you listen carefully, you can actually hear like the finger
clip.
off the plastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it.
And then Leo, my son, like he claims that he felt touched at his side in the same room as well. So we're not finished going through that completely, but already it's delivered. It's delivered already, very much like yourselves, an active area. Straight
away. And like I know Lou was doing the Estes method in there as well. And a few things about the UK and so on, that another team was there before and we matched up together. And I know another team has been there before, and we were talking, amongst each other, in PM or on call, whatever. And I said, did you get this? And I just got this smile on video to say, and I'm like, you did, you got this. And because they got it, but they never told anyone. And I'm like, you knew this and you didn't, because you don't want to be told. But it validated, because when I got that smile, it validated. And I'm like, did you get this? Did you get that? Did you get this? And it was just that smile that kind of gave it away, that it was validating against, because no one talked about it. Between two different teams, we never talked about it.
And you see, that's what I love going in blank. And actually, I'm going to come back to another point with yourself.
Hey.
You were saying to me about religion. There's actually, what's your thoughts of, we'll say you've got a photograph of somebody. So I'll give you the scenario.
Hey.
We had permission and did a church that was going to be sealed. And not normally my style, don't really do them. But while the lady was there, she could feel something in the abandoned area with her. We were looking from outside in through a broken window, right?
Yeah.
And the window wasn't even there. It's like a room. And she felt something there. We took photographs. They would say, put out your hand. Come to her hand. It blacked out her hand. It blacked out her face. It like drew the colours out of her. As she moved, she said, come with me. And it blacked out her legs, parts of her legs. So what was your thoughts on that one? She felt it was moving with her. Photographs by two different cameras, multiple pictures, and yes, it seems to block out different parts of her body or draw out of her.
Oh, no.
That's actually up there. I actually have that. I think it's even on the YouTube. I think it's there. But something very interesting, considering you're asking about religion and about faith. I actually forgot about that one. That's the thing. We do so many, we forget.
I know.
It's trying to keep up to date with everything that you've witnessed and all the evidence over the years. But that's amazing. Like blocking out, like physically, the spirit is manifested in front of her, and that's amazing, isn't it?
Well, it's tying into your questions of, you were saying about religion, and as I say, like, that's not normally my cup of tea. I'm more of a casual kind of person, and I like closed environments where I feel that, we'll say, my footage I can stand over more because it's not to the elements. But that's everyone's personal choice. But on this particular occasion, it just kept drawing. You should have a look at that one.
Do you have that up on your YouTube?
It's actually on YouTube. Yeah, no, it's a crap. The music to it is crap because it was my early days starting out YouTube.
That's my little of the YouTube videos, and like
I made it with like a Vimeo or one of those apps, and I was putting the pictures together. But you could just see the different patches, like it was her feet, her hand, and it was her face and head as she moved within the area.
And then I was going to say, I know before we've done shows before, myself and yourself, Nando, and when we talked about religion and whatnot, and Nando hates when I talk about religion.
Well, yeah, there's like there's sort of barrier, like you don't cross the line in certain things with her. Like, we all know Jenny. We all love Jenny. Let's be honest. We love her, but she's a no filter person. She'll just say things as they are, when, she'll just say it, and she don't. For me, I'm a bit more like, so when I know Jenny's like, oh, I've got something to say about religion, I'm a bit like this when it comes to that. Oh.
Yes, I need to let the dog out.
And actually, you've just reminded me of something there. We spoke earlier about, let's say, Wicklow Jail and actually Jack the Jailer.
Oh, remind me to send you pictures of Wicklow Jail, of that area, and get your thoughts, and Nando as well, and get your thoughts on pictures that was taken from that area.
Because I have a guest investigator from Wicklow, and she sometimes would do an investigation. She would log in and do it online with us. So sometimes,
I like that.
Yeah, so because she interested in, so she would just log in. But on this occasion, we actually debated this one out, because she said I was too soft for the spirit. Because I said before that had happened, even though the lady above was like, go down, get PJ. When I was actually calling below, and I said, do you need prayer? And she was like, if that was Jack the Jailer, her argument was, last thing he wants is a prayer. So she was, it was very much a debate between the two of us. Actually, I forgot about that till you just reminded me. We very much debated it. She was like, that I was actually coming at it wrong, too soft for a proposed different style of interview.
Yeah, well, when I was down in that area, and I was like, stand in front of me, stand beside me, because I had this mental barrier up saying, today's not the day, and I'm not the one. I can't see it, but I'll air punch if I have to. But today's not the one. So one of the girls said, Jenny, you can't say that. And I'm like, yes, I can. And yes, I will. Well, let me show you those pictures afterwards of after I said that. And I was only looking over them last night. And I wish I had them here to put up, but I will send them to you immediately after this. And I was actually showing my friend Alan last night in the museum, and just to get your thoughts on it. But yes, when it comes, and I am Catholic, and I don't disrespect religion, but I am very questionable. I like to question, because paranormal is across the board. And so you have the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And every time I talk about this, because I'm not going to talk about it long, because something always happens in my house, so let's not do that.
But don't forget with religion, though, if you look at Archangel Michael, what was part of his prayer? For all the souls, both the living and the dead, that roam the earth.
Yes.
So if you actually tie that back in, interpretation. What do they say? Everybody can have an interpretation.
But then, on that point, and let me think about how to say this, because again, I'm not one to really go into a lot of religion, but you just touched on the point on the archangel there. So people go to church, they pray to the Holy Spirit and everything. So why do you think it's easy for them to go to church and believe in the church and the Holy Spirit there, but then they don't believe in the paranormal? Why is it so different?
Yeah, that's my biggie.
I think a lot of it, though, let's be fair, if you look at generations and how time has come, like if you look at the UK, it has a very different level to paranormal than we'll say Ireland has to paranormal. So I think it's just the level, like the more the generations change and grow, I think the more open they are to it.
That's it, because Nando, just like you were saying about, there is one woman, and she goes to the church every day. She cleans it, she goes to mass every day, and so on and so on. But she didn't believe in one person doing the paranormal. She goes, oh, that's not real. That's not real. And Jenny being Jenny, oh, the Lord, Jenny being Jenny. And I'm like, and I'll be frank, because this is my opinion. So it is not anybody's opinion. My opinion is, it's my show. It's my opinion. And what I say is that you're praying to someone that you probably haven't seen or heard. Many people have heard him and touched him, felt being touched by him, and so on and so on. I'm just going to say that we have, oh God, please don't happen in my house. Please don't happen anything in my house. That we have evidence, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? No, maybe not. Maybe that's just me being Jenny, that we have evidence of audio, video, of paranormal. And with religion is somebody who doesn't believe in the paranormal, who believes in somebody up there. And I do believe you, so don't do anything to me tonight that we don't have evidence footage of that. And I know if anybody who's Catholic here, please don't come for me.
Yeah.
This is just my opinion. That, do you know what I'm saying? That's just my not argument, but it's just my thought.
I
And that's
think
your opinion. And I will say the other thing is, for me, and my opinion, my
Aye.
faith has gotten stronger since doing paranormal. It's actually given me more faith and increased my faith. Like every day, I start my day with a simple, on my way to work. I do a few prayers every morning, but I hand my whole day, my body, my day, my life, everything up. I take it out of my hands and I put the faith in up every day. So paranormal has actually increased my faith. So I think everybody is entitled to their opinion of how
Absolutely.
they see it.
And I
So,
bless
yeah.
my children when in the morning time, if they leave me, go to school, college, I bless them. My daughter always bends forward for me to bless her, just to, and then she does it back to me. So I am Catholic. It's just a question as a person in paranormal that, so for some woman to say, oh, there's no such thing, no such thing. And my argument to her would be, well, there is, and we have proof of it. And I do believe, but don't condemn something that we do and believe in the way I wouldn't condemn to what you believe in. But the difference is, because I worded that wrong earlier, the difference is like our evidence is there. Is it solid? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But is it there? Yes.
I think that for me, when it comes to, I go back when I lived in Italy. We went to a school that was run by a priest and nuns, right? And the information that we were getting about, about religion, about the Catholic religion, was everything from a book. And the only thing that I would say is that we're taking everything from a book that we don't know how true it is, because someone's written it at the end of the day. We're going by that, but we have to put our faith in our religion and believe that is what it is. But I just find it weird that we can put our faith in a book, but then people don't want to believe when we get visual evidence or audio evidence. And that's my only thing that I question.
That's what I agree with. Yeah.
Do you not think that's more ignorance? That I suppose that brings back even to what I said of, do you know what? It's not my place to convince anyone, but sit down for 20 minutes. Let me show you what I have and make up
Amen.
Yeah,
I just said amen.
Actually, I'll tell you a very good one for an EVP, and I know I'm talking random all over the place.
That's here. That's
I was part of a 2-person investigation in the house here in Kerry. The interesting thing is, we believe we got a male EVP in one part. In another part, we believe we got something, but we didn't know what something was. We knew it was something. It sounded like audio, but we couldn't make it out. Now, the answer was in front of our face, and we as investigators should have spotted it, but we had a bit of a dumb moment. So we played it back to the owner. They weren't Irish, and it was their language the EVP was in. They were from a totally different country. The EVP was in their language, and I went a step further where she actually kind of cried because she recognized it, and she found great comfort in it.
Wow.
And I remember the two of us looking at each other going, oh my God, how did we just miss this?
It happens.
So and as I say, I can barely speak English, I can barely write English. so I definitely won't be working on any other language.
I remember we had,
very interesting.
And it does happen, because we would have something like that similar when somebody's talking in Irish to you. And I know when one of the guys, Aidan, was on the team before, and we were in Redwood Castle in the church and the chapel, and he was saying a prayer in French, and because Aidan was training to be a priest at one point, he was thinking of training to be a priest. So he would speak French and he would speak a little bit of German and whatnot. So he did a prayer in French, which was lovely, and we have it in audio. But you'll hear at the very end, Amen, and it was lovely to hear. And then we said at the end, all of us said at the end of it individually, like Amen, because he's doing a prayer in the chapel. But you'll hear this Amen at the end of it, and that was comforting.
And that's the thing. Like, we have Veronica as well in our team. Veronica is of Polish background. So on the odd investigation, we do try, because let's be fair, it's all trial and error. But Redwood Chapel, I actually had my T-shirt tucked in that one.
Did you?
but I felt a low energy, like a low level, as in sides. Like I felt it was a younger. So I knelt down with a camera facing me, one to the side.
Aye.
And at the time, I was there, I put out my two hands. I just felt something. I was like, "Come forward, touch my hand." I said, I even said, "Tug my t-shirt, whatever," and it happened. And of course, I was trying to get their attention, and I stupidly was doing this, and they all burst out laughing. And I was trying, then the moment was gone, and I was like, "I was trying to tell you." Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's interesting, the locations from everywhere around, like be it around the world or be around Ireland. The investigation is always the one part we're always trying to improve and try to get more from. Share.
And it's for not, and the stuff that you get, it's oh, there's a fly around me. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's mind blowing, and you want to scream about it because it's amazing. If that makes sense, you know, the only that you or I or Nando have gotten is like you can't, you know, you can't say there isn't anything there.
And it's funny, I often find the person that's, do you know, we all might have a person that, like I bring guests at times, they wanted to stand in front of them, they want to nearly hit them. They never see or hear anything. The person that really wants them to stand in front of them and hit them, like they're like half an unbeliever, they're coaxing it up. I want them to stand in front of me. And is it because they're so tuned out, they never hear? Whereas the person that's just silent or quiet or staying under the radar, they could have a lot of activity around them.
That's it. And you ever find that the longer you're in the field, the more you're open to it? Like,
you feel the energy. I think there's times you went to a room. So we'll just say now we're doing Redwood. I've done the ground, you've done the top. Next thing I could go on the ground, you just feel it's gone flat. You just feel there's nothing. Whereas next round you could be upstairs, you could then come down, and next time be like, you could feel. Like I know Eva said in the one actually where Rebecca got touched, she said it's gone very tense in here. I think, you know, when you strip it back and you are just down to your minimum senses of ears, listening, eyes, you can change. Yeah,
I think Norma saying Redwood Castle, I remember the footsteps on the stairs.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And you do
very common.
Well, that's it. I think on what was the banquet floor, which would have been what we call it, the red tile floor. What do you call it?
I call it the Great Hall because it's such a big Great Hall.
Great Hall, yeah, because we call it the red tile floor because the tiles are red on the floor because we're just lazy like that. I find the toilets in there so. I know, like, you know, and we look down that, you know, the old toilet chute.
Yes.
At the side, and to learn about it, and bless Kalisa, she was giving out to me saying, "You don't need an operation on your knees, Jenny. Oh my God, you're a young one." And I said, "Kalisa, no." And she's up and down those stairs carrying bags of logs. And this woman, I'm not going to tell you what age she is because she's a lady, but she's up and down like, you know, it's like walking on a straight floor.
No problem, sir.
I know. And
that's quite an active room with the red tile. Like
it is, yeah.
Like we've had quite a lot there. Everything from, like, we'll say, a flickering spirit light on the corner, we'll say, coming down. Do you know those, the design of like a soldier on the end of the chapel? And my apologies now, Nando. Have you been in Redwood?
No, I haven't. I've heard a lot of stories with.
My apologies if I'm boring you, because of course.
No. I'm enjoying it.
But you had flickering spirit lights. We'll say, definite orbs. Then we'll say even the brush. We secured the brush, and for 10 hours. And you know, Redwood, you're using that room to go through it, to go to the chapel, to go to the top.
Yeah.
We're continuously moving.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
No, never falls.
I've seen that video. I seen that video with the brush.
And it just goes, but the last one goes with force. Yeah. We've had the REM pod in there, and actually even a good one was we did an EVP while we were setting up. Literally just had cameras rolling. Aye. And I have the silver cases, you know, like you'd hear the clipping of the... Yes, like flickering. Yeah. And there's no one in the room, and you can hear the flicking on the metal. And then there's a voice going, "Come on." But yeah,
Okay.
we're only setting up.
Oh,
We had the exact-
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Come
amazing.
on, like, you know, you're getting ready, you kind of.
Yes. I was like, that's a bit presumptuous. Saying,
I
come
have
on.
to say, I find Redwood the only location I've done that wasn't, and if I can use the word malevolent, I felt comfortable in it. You know, and I don't mean malevolent in a bad way, but malevolent does mean bad. But I mean, like, I felt I would stay in that hallway, the top floor, you know, where the fire is, on my own,
Yes.
in the castle by myself. And I have done it where I've stayed in the castle, not stayed in it by sleeping, but someone had to put something in the car and they have to go down these flights of stairs. And I'm like, hold on for me, I'm coming with you. No, I would sit there and not be like, you know, nervous.
But it's of course lights on, fire on, you have a comfortable vibe. Now, I've never got a massive amount there, but I do use do you know the Insta camera, the Instax?
Which ones?
Do you know the Instax cameras?
I don't know them.
Like a Polaroid. The Polaroid picture comes out of them straight away.
Sorry. Yes, yeah. Do you have that?
So in that room at the very end, you know we have the stairs going up to us there where the bed is upstairs?
Yeah.
There's like a spiral stairs.
Yeah.
I took 2 photographs in a row and you can actually see the stairs blocked out in one. And I actually have the picture there. So and bear in mind it's Polaroid, so it's not digital, it can't be altered. And you're supposed to be able to see through, but there's something actually blocking out the stairs there, quite black.
That's amazing. And
That's
then
cool.
on another occasion, we had a ball actually wedged against the 2 steps of the stairs on the other side.
yeah,
And then there was a guy beside me. We were sitting down next to the ball was just like smacked out of the wedge onto the floor. So we've had a few bits, but that's not the most active of floors. But we've had a few bits there.
It sounds amazing what you have picked up, though. You know, I think it doesn't matter how big or how small. To pick up anything is just great. Especially when you've reviewed it and you've like sort of thought to yourself, you know, you thought about the logical stuff. You know, can we make logic to this? And when you can't, and then you've realised that you've actually caught something really that is paranormal. It doesn't matter how big or small it is; it's still amazing. It still builds that
there
in the story.
Like that's what I say. When you see any video or clip of mine, that's recorded playing off the telly. It's not edited. It's not anything else. You're seeing the exact recording. The only thing I've got clever with is like one thing we all know is our clips are so important to us. So I had a bank of clips going back a few years. Remember the old hard drives with the plug? And I foolishly never backed up that one hard drive. So I've lost a bank of previous. Whereas now I'm more clever making sure I have everything stored. But I always keep all my investigations. So at any stage I can go, well, do you know what? If you want to listen, there's 50 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, please. I keep saying I'm going to send it on to other people, my audio. You know, Jenny, I'm doing nothing. If you want me to do some audio for you, you know, send it on to me. Okay, here's 3 months of 3 different locations. I'm going on holiday. I'm going camping with my dogs. And I was just thinking about Redwood Castle. Sorry, Nando, for interrupting. Redwood Castle. We had a team. Well, there was a team from the UK that wanted to come over to Ireland because they couldn't fly over to America because of COVID and whatnot. So they contacted a friend of theirs in the UK, said, do you know anybody in Ireland? I pop up because I was friends with this person. And so they went to Redwood Castle and it was no one other than Mickey York. They went over to Redwood Castle. So I told them nothing. And why would I tell them anything? Tell me what you're getting yourself. And they came back with, I'm like, oh my bloody feck, yes. And I said, take a trip down to Leap Castle. You know, Colin, Sean will be there, you know, donation to the castle, of course, and you can have a wee look around. And we know Leap Castle, like, you know, we've been to Leap Castle and, you know, it's an amazing location. It's one of my favorite locations.
Amazing, yeah.
Isn't it just, oh my God, I have audio to send you, it's crazy stuff. And they paid a donation, and we know, like, we pay for our venues, our, you know, our locations, and it's, you know, and it's well, you got to go into these locations. They're well known and well worth the money. But I said to these guys, take a trip down, you know, to Sean during the daytime. They got a wee investigation done for, like, you know, whatever they paid, but they still got it done compared to what we pay. And I said, you know what I'm saying, PJ, you know what I'm saying? So I said,
See, that's the hardest part is like it's costing us, like, to be in this field costs us all the time. We're not making money. Well, I'm not anyway. I'm not in profit. If anything, it costs all the time. But we do it because this is our passion. This is what we're doing.
That's it. That's it. And the boys went down and they, had a fantastic, a wee bit of, say, about an hour, 2 hours, having a great chat with Sean and doing a wee bit of investigation for it. Why not? So they got 2 fantastic locations. But long story short, yes, that's what Irish, no long story is ever short. Short. But so they had validation from Redwood Castle, should I say. That's my long story short, validation from Redwood Castle. And they've never been there before. So, sorry, go ahead, PJ, go ahead.
No, my apologies. I could have crossed you.
No, don't be silly, not at all. Go ahead, go on. This is
I was going to say, like, even with LEP, like, I've never come out of there with nothing either. Like,
I know.
Again, we'll say the corridor area. Do you know where there's the wooden doors are pure thick solid?
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, yes, I have a dropping of, we'll say, a light flickering down through the door, but not through the door. It's on the inside. So we'll say that same corridor, my camera's at the end inside that corridor.
Aye.
And I captured the light just flickering in a different section.
Oh, wow. See that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so, like, again, LEP Castle, we've had EVP, the steps, the footsteps, again, the smell, we'll say, the feeling. But you see, LEP, the minute you see LEP, it creates the atmosphere.
Yes, because I know when I went there for the first time, it was like TV. It's like, this is what I've seen. This is what people talk about. And and I know when I go to locations, any location, doesn't matter where it is or what it is, I touch the walls. I always touch the walls, like, especially castles or whatever. But I do, if it's stone wall, I'll touch it. And just to kind of, that's how I do my investigations. I just touch it, feel it, mentally think something, or maybe it's an image or a picture that I mentally think when I'm touching the castle wall. I don't know how it goes for everyone, but that's just
it. I suppose everyone is their way. Like Nando, I'm sure, is his way. Like, I often feel I like to let it breathe. I like to let the castle breathe, let it come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll say castle, home, building, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Like another good one. Did I say to you about the child's voice saying they're trying to go to sleep?
No.
Did I tell you about this?
No.
So a friend of mine arranged a location. We're in a compound, fully locked down. We had locked the building at around, I would say, close to 6. And we moved into the adjoining area because for health reasons, we stayed there. 30 minutes after locking, but our cameras are still rolling, you can get a child's voice going, I'm trying to go to sleep.
Oh,
we
wow.
We don't bring under 18s with us. Everyone has to be over 18. We don't have kids with us. The building was locked. Who was it? That's what I love.
I love that. And it's the ones that it's the creme de la creme. When you're doing audio work and you get, oh my goodness, I've heard other people's audio work and I'm thinking, when I started off, I was like, oh, I wish I got that. And now, as I got older in the field and whatnot, it's like, I'm glad I'm hearing it. Because you have to learn and grow within the field and find your niche and find your comfort zone, if that makes sense, and find your maturity when it comes in this, if that makes.
Yeah.
And keep learning. Actually, a question, Nando, you were saying earlier about we'll say about like that talking, trying new things. And the same investigation, a lady, I thought it was very clever, very intelligent spirit. She said, if there's someone in the room, can you knock twice for yes? She actually got an EVP of the voice going, knock, knock. And I thought it was very intelligent. Very intelligent.
And
good sense of humor.
we're saying about... You're talking about...
1 second. Sorry, just excuse me for 1 second.
Okay. Well, I'll ask my question while Jenny's gone. You're talking about how, we're learning, is a development in the paranormal field. Imagine that you got someone that comes to you, they're very new to the field, they want to get started. What advice would you give them in the sense of, would it be based on equipment, how to go into a location? How would you guide them into getting into the paranormal field?
Well, I suppose I actually have it. If you actually look at if you look at Puka Vogue right now, if you look at us, like we'll say, you've got myself with all the years. Then you have my son who grew up with an element of it, and you have his partner, and his partner will say the two more. If you think about they've been new to this, they've never done it before. They came on board, but I always say the best advice is you can train them how to use what equipment you already have.
Yeah.
You can explain like you're trying to get a object as a trigger object, which can be anything once it can work. So you're just teaching them, we'll say, logistics of something light, something with a color, something with the, and I often say they're listening to what you're doing, they're listening to you calling out. They'll all put their own spin. So if you actually look at it, I'm going through that with my team, I suppose, even now, because we've had one full year under our belt. But they're teaching the dinosaur as well, because they're teaching me the stuff they've seen on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I think make it your own. Get the basics of the equipment you're working with. Get the basics by watching what people are already doing in investigations, and then try. All you can do is try something new. It'll either work or it won't, and you can decide, you know what, that's not right for an investigation. We'll just eliminate that. So I think the best way is, most importantly, is that they're feeling comfortable in the situation of what they're doing.
And I think it's like, you know, them finding their niche in the field, like what works for them, like you're saying, what works for them, what doesn't, you know, because everyone has like for me, you were saying about the dowsing rods, you know, I don't think much of them, so I won't go into doing that. I'm more about filming as much as I can and seeing what we can capture, you know. But being like a family run team, then do you feel very like you is your role to protect everyone around you then, because you know that they're your family? Do you like, as like your son, for example, he's grown up, you know, seeing what you've done and he's got well into it. Does that make you more cautious about, like, if something happens with him, that you've got
Not one bit. Everyone for themselves.
okay, that's
I can honestly tell you, no, because the way it is they have to learn, like I did, you did, Jenny does. We all have to do the same. So I go, no, you can guide them in the beginning. The rest then is, what's that saying? Sink or swim, bucko.
So it's like a bird. Once you've flown the nest, that's it. It's your problem. You deal with it. There you go.
The one time I took over my eldest daughter there, I think she was about 17 when I took over to the museum. Myself and Alan were putting up Halloween decorations and so on. And so Jessica was sitting in a room and I'm looking at Alan and saying, you know, gosh, if only she knew, you know, if only she knew what we knew. So anyway, we were finishing up the job and she was walking out and she looked at me and she goes, and I'm like, did you? And she goes, Mom, I heard a woman. I high-fived her. I tell you, she could have gotten a college degree and I'd still high-five her better because she heard a woman DVP. And I'm like, Mommy's not crazy, as you called her. It does happen. So
absolutely.
It does. And I get them to listen to audio. But they were watching shows and whatever, or a movie with the K2, whatever. She goes, Mom, you have that, you have that, you have that. And I'm like, yes, I do.
And have you ever tried, like, your own homes? Like, we'll say in my, there's a property within our family, would be a very old house. Floors are painted red. It's that old. You'll know traditional Ireland, that's a very old house. Painted red floors. I
was going to paint my floors red tomorrow, but I actually would, if I had the paint.
On a New Year's Day, a friend of mine was staying down, so I was like, you know, we're going to stay here. What else would you do on New Year's? And you bring out the camera, bring out the K2, and away you go. So you have one male, one female in a room, and K2 is on the table. We're getting actions, but we're not getting them. It's not developing. And then I kind of go, okay, do you not want to give your name? And she's got a fag in her mouth, and you can see it on the clip that she's got a fag in her mouth. The next thing you hear is a male voice coming back with, okay, Francis. So now we didn't hear it at the time. She thought she heard something. But when we watched it back, there it was. For years, I kept that clip. And it was only recently when I started Puka, I was going back over old clips, trying to organize things. For some reason, I never pressed play after that. I did years later. After that, the voice then goes, Leo, which is obviously my son's name.
Aye.
Who wasn't in the house. And it was interesting. And I went back to the lady that was with me that night, and I was like, "You're not going to believe this. Here we go." But now the same house, friends would have been in this house down through the years, and everyone has seen like the shadows coming and going. The hallway, long ago in Irish house, the bathroom was not inside; it was outside. So the bathroom was added on. So the original porch would have been inside to the door of the sitting room. And the amount of people that see that just a static black shadow standing at the sitting room door looking in, or just moving. And especially when it's raining, whenever there's rain, it really heightens the activity in the house.
Oh, God. And that's what they say with the weather, you know, the thunder and lightning and all of that. It's and we've had it before when we've had really, really bad weather and the activity was just heightened to the point that it was just, you couldn't keep up with it. I mean, I don't know that I'll thunder and lightning, but I'll take it for an investigation.
Well, the thunder's a bit of a problem with noise, but we'll take the lightning.
I know. Natalie, good night, my love. Good night. Up at 3:30 a.m. for an airport run for a friend. No worries, my love. We'll catch up during the week. We have to catch up. We have loads to catch up on, my darling. Another thing.
My God, guys, I just realised I've been talking and harping on for nearly 2 hours. My sincere apologies.
Listen,
It's been great. You know, it's been absolutely great. Like, I've enjoyed listening to your stories and everything. It's been awesome. Don't be sorry.
No, I mean, that's, you know, we like to sit back and talk. That's why you're on the show, not for us to talk, for you to tell us, you know, what's happening. And I've watched your videos and I've watched your shows, and every time I go to Redwood Castle, we all have our cards there on the window, and I always see Puka Vogue, and I was like, yeah, PJ's still here. PJ's here. And then my cards are there as well. And you know, a few cards all set up. But then you'd always check the guest book. And everyone has to check in the guest book. And it's great to see, you know, who's been there and how many visitors come and whatnot. It is an amazing location. I wanted to ask you as well, if somebody was starting out in the paranormal field. And I remember Brian asked me this question before. If someone started out in the paranormal field, what advice would you give them? And my answer was, don't do it. You'll never have money.
No.
Don't do it. But apart from my answer, but I was joking, what advice would you give to anybody who said to you, right, PJ, I'm looking to do paranormal. What should I do it? Should I not do it? What should I do?
Well, I suppose it's like I was saying there to Nando. I was like, you know, if you look at Puka Vogue, it's very much a new and an old, because of course, obviously the dinosaurs here, they're coming on. So we'll say Veronica
the Gen X?
Sorry?
Are we called the Gen X or are they called the Gen X? Because my twin always goes on about the Gen X, and I'm like, Vicky, what's the Gen X? I must be that old and I don't know what a Gen X is, but anyhow, I'm sure someone will tell me. Anyway, go on. Continue.
All I know is I'm getting older. That's all I know.
Yeah, my knees, the sound of my knees will tell you how old I am. Every crack is like a tree ring. I keep see the Irish now, the way we keep talking. It's like you open up a tree and you see all the rings in it. That's my knees. And it tells you
no matter how bad we are, when it comes to location, we'll get up or down them stairs.
Get up those stairs, give me a boost up, done.
The advice I give, like we'll say Rory and Veronica, is, you know, and I even say this, friends of mine, I've often coaxed a few friends of mine to come on locations now and again. And the one thing I say to them is, guess what? Go into it with an open mind, try it. The worst that can happen is it's not for you. But you'll have gone in a location, you'll have had a very different night versus your night around town or your fancy meal. You've got a totally different night, totally different atmosphere. The worst thing that can happen is it's not for you. And after one night, you'll have it. The only other piece of advice I give to people is, if you have no patience, don't even come into it. Because we all know you can be sitting there in the dark for 15, 20 minutes in, calling into an empty room. Somebody go, look at that lunatic, and he's shouting there, is there anyone there? And there's no one in the room. So if you have no patience, forget it.
It's happening. It is happening. We just, you know, it's not in front of us. And you could be there, like, I know we've done locations, or we, like yourself, you'd go for 2 nights in a row. If you can't do 2 nights in a row and you can't do 2 hours in a room that has nothing but like creek floorboard and you can debunk it, it's not for you. Then go watch Ghost Adventures. Love you, Ghost Adventures. What? No.
Actually, speaking of creaky floors, have you ever been in the Johnny Cash suite in Markree Castle?
No.
So there was a live ghost hunt weekend many moons ago, and that's where I first seen it. But of course, not being green and not really a part of the organisers, I had to go back. So being a lovely son that I was, I bought my mother, and I said, guess what? You're getting a VIP night, Markree Castle. I purposely made sure to get the Johnny Cash suite because that's where all the activity was supposed to be happening.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So we get down there. Next day I pulls out the tripod, the camera. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh yeah, you got a free night. That was for the journey up and down and for your breakfast. I'm going something. But like that, it was actually quite interesting. You mentioned Ghost of Interest in the same breath. So here we are, Markree, camera rolling, and you can hear the footsteps going across the room, but there's nobody in the room. We're downstairs. And then, do you remember the old Irish wardrobe that they had this little, it was like an emblem and a little piece and it would flicker, it would flick back in, like the cases.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I actually captured that in the room.
PJ, are we that old?
Well, actually, I'm assuming you're on my list, so that's me out anyway. I'm dead.
Tell me afterwards. When I hold you now, PJ.
My apologies, drop the camera.
What year are you born?
I'm a 70s child, bare end.
I'm a 70s as well.
I'm the very last of it.
I'm an 80s baby. So I'm good.
Whatever.
Oh, there's always one.
I'm a middle 70s. So I'm older than you.
I'm later.
You're later 70s.
But I'm coming back to my story for a minute though.
I'm not telling our ages.
I think it was actually Ghost Hunters. Actually, they did Johnny Cash's house in the States or somewhere off down there.
It was in I think it was in Africa.
Yeah. Yes, it was somewhere hot. I can barely remember the answer.
That's an Irish thing to say. It was somewhere hot.
But lo and behold, they got the same thing in there.
Did you see his original shoes? It was somewhere hot. That's going to stay in my mind now. In America, Australia, it was Africa. It was somewhere hot. Such an Irishism. But it's something about his shoes, the original shoes, where, and I could be totally wrong when I say Africa, but I am going to Google it because Google knows everything. But his shoes were his original shoes, and they were placed where they were. And I'm 95% it's Africa. But it was a Ghost Hunters. So yeah, it was Ghost Hunters that did it, or Ghost Adventures. One of them did it, but it was because Johnny Cash's place in another place somewhere hot.
I'm not good. That one's going to stay.
No, that's mumbling. I've one or two more questions here. If you were to, this is Brian's question. Brian, I'm taking your question. What is it, Nando? Go for it.
So if we was to give you a big bag of money and you could go anywhere to investigate, where would you go and why?
In the world.
In the world.
We rubbed it off Brian Laverty. Copyright.
That is a very, very good question. I suppose I would have to say probably bucket list, Alcatraz.
Oh, yes. I'm off Alcatraz.
But it's got to have activity. I've never been there. I would have to go for Alcatraz.
I think we need to notch Brian's question up a little bit because he gives one, and we have a lot of locations. So we're going to say a top three. So we're going to give you three options: top three locations in the world. But money is not an object.
Okay, so Alcatraz will be number one.
Okay.
Brian's
going to rub this question off me now. Watch.
I suppose looking at number two, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, I've never heard someone say that one before. That's
Me
good.
neither. Loving it. We love your mind.
It was up for a road trip, Route 66. My third. Ooh. That's to me.
No pressure.
No, but I know I can. That's now it's worse than you just did that. That's just like.
Tick tick tick.
Do boom.
No, I'm gone. I'll be blowing out and on my.
You never guess I watched.
See, I don't work under pressure.
you never watch, never guess. I watch Countdown. What's the conundrum?
There's actually the third one is actually an Irish castle.
Oh,
And I would love to get back into it. I would actually be Kilkee above around Kildare. I would love to have spent a week inside there.
okay.
A week.
Because it's so high priced that you wouldn't possibly get back in now. I had the pleasure of seeing that castle and being in that castle and investigating it before it's where it's at now. But oh my God, would I love to spend a week there. It's too big. It's a huge castle. Bear this in mind now. You've got the area where there was a disco. Now that's had 2 fires this stage.
Oh gosh.
And like I had on tape even activity where in the disco I've got activity from there. You had the children's wing. Now this building, the main castle had fires as well. Their whole ethos is like towards a monkey that's supposed to save the kids.
Okay.
But the castle is so large and there's so much there, you'd want a week. So if I had enough money to hire that for 1 week, I would live, eat and breathe that castle for a week.
Is it possible that you could?
If we had a bag of money.
We've got leprechauns, PJ. We've got leprechauns and a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I mean, I'm sure we can talk to one of our leprechauns, sure to be sure.
Like I'll tell you what I even saw in the wing of that, in the children's wing part was, so picture a hallway with an old style buggy. Do you know the ones with the little wooden handle and the curve?
Yeah.
A fellow investigator brought as a trigger object. So we had a buggy in the children's hallway. Then we had a ball placed on the window, but it was placed in a group dip so that the ball will move. And the ball actually gets smacked, goes down the corridor, around the buggy, and back up.
Wow.
Ooh.
So law of gravity is the question I would use there. But yeah, that would, if you give me a bag of money that I could hire that for a week, that would definitely be one. Because it's so big. We kept losing each other inside there. It's so big.
Oh, that brings me to a location. I'm right. See, I have to write everything down. Listen, I'm looking, lads. You're all talking there, and here's me with a pen and paper with like, oh my God, I remember, because I write things down because in the brain, I'm remembering. But you see, the thing now, what I was about to say is I forgot because I was writing something else down. To not forget what to say.
Well, you're the interviewer. I'm only the interviewee. No pressure now.
All eyes on Jenny now.
Hang on, mister. You're part of it too.
Hey, I've asked my questions. I'm good. I'm all right. I'm only a co-host. She's the gaffer, so she needs to make sure.
Listen, we're all in this together.
Tick tock, tick tock.
As PJ said, once the bird's flown the nest, you're on your own. You're on your own now, Jen. Carry on.
It, kid.
What? I can't hear it. My signal's going. So anyhow, hold on. Okay, so actually, I do. Well, no, you've just answered the question that I had written down here. So thanks for that. So moving on swiftly, because you just answered the question that I didn't ask, but it was like, what location would you love to do in Ireland that you haven't done? What I was going to say now that has come to me is myself and my team have a location booked in October. It is an Airbnb, but it's a castle.
Okay.
And it's huge. That's all I can say. It's huge. I'm joking. I forget the name of it because Louise, bless her, we heard, because she has all this booked in our names and whatnot and so on and so on.
Is it in County Cavan?
No, Cavan. Oh, her husband's from Cavan. Louise's husband's from Cavan. Cavan, as we call it. Listen, do you know what? Probably pointed saying that because I don't know where it is.
Okay.
But the only thing I don't know where it is it's in Ireland. I have to ask Louise. Louise will have to watch this now later, and I have to ask her, and then I'll let you know where it is. But it's an Airbnb, so the three of us are booking into it for October, for the weekend. And there was one, we were looking through the pictures and so on, and I will have to get the name up, but there's one particular room. We have a drawing to a room, to a location that you've never been before, but you just know you have to go into that room?
Yes.
This one, now, I don't sleep anywhere. If you have an air bed or whatever we're staying, my air bed is going to be attached to your air bed, because, we're across here. I'm like, I'm over here. No, that doesn't happen. I say, Louise is awake. Louise, save me. What's the name of the castle? Louise, I knew it began with a K. I just didn't know it was a Kildenny, Kildare, Kerry. We don't know where it is, but we are. I think we're going into it in October. Louise has it booked. But anyhow, look at the two of us now. Just deadly, Louise. We're brilliant. Where are we going? Don't know. Let's just follow the road. Let's end up. We work hard and we play harder. But yeah, it's an unusual name. It is an unusual name, which is why no team's ever gone into it before. Not that we know of, or we would have heard of it. But yeah, so it's an Airbnb. So we never heard of a castle being an Airbnb. So we will go into it, and when we do find the name out, we will give the name out so other teams can book into it and do what they do. So you have a farmhouse to the side of it and whatnot. But there was one particular room, and it called me where the bedroom is, and it just called me that I'd like to stay in that room by myself. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but when you need to say, Jennifer or whoever, man up. Do it. I think it's time that I've kind of broken from my cocoon shell of, fight or flight, Jennifer. And I think I'll stay in the room on my own. I know when myself and Louise walked into one of the museum rooms, and Louise is laughing at me because she knows what I'm going to talk about now. We walked into one of the rooms in the Drogheda Museum in Millmount, and Louise was behind me. So one of the rooms in the museum is not too sure about it, a little bit, off with it. So I'm walking in with the body camera, and I said, we're just going to leave this in here if that's okay. Louise burps behind me, and she goes, yes, as she burps at the same time. My legs spaghettied, twisted around, turning around by running out of the room. No, I don't mean running, I just mean fast walking out of the room. and she was behind me. But fortunately or unfortunately, the body camera was facing away from my face. But if you did, you would have had a still shot of my face of what it actually looks like when I'm about to run.
Jeez.
And you see, laughter is always a good draw. Always a good draw.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, at that time, my legs were spaghetti legs. It was very funny.
You're lucky you didn't have any other accidents.
Well, now. I was going to say something there, but I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. We should investigate together. The crack will happen. We're brilliant. We should. We're trying to get Nando over to Ireland.
But do you know what? Actually, now I've met you, PJ, I've got a good reason to come over to Ireland. I think it's something to definitely, you're a top guy. Love talking to you. So, I think there's a reason for me to go over to Ireland now and do an investigation.
Well, absolutely, sure. Come here. All we can do is try. Let's be very honest. I think between the three of us, we're not a bit well anyone, the three of us.
I think Nando. Yes, we'll bring it. Yes, Nando. We'll bring it to Leb Castle, and you can stay the night in the Blades Chapel if you want.
Yeah, I'll be up for it. I have Sarah with me, so I'll be all right. I'll be safe.
Sarah's staying with me. Sarah is his wife. Sarah's staying with me. Sarah has kahunas.
Maybe it's time for you to do a lone vigil again, Ginny.
Me?
Yes.
I did one time, but I was doing it live. Not really bad. I did a lone vigil in the museum, the Drogheda Millmount Museum, and I did a lone vigil, but I was on a live, so I had people watching me in case anything happened, so they can tell the people upstairs, Jenny Ninja, I shit you not, I did, PJ, I did. It's not really bad. And someone was saying to me, I can see a shadow to your right-hand side of me, because we asked, through the phone, the ITC, and I said, make a sound if you want Alan to go down. Nothing. Make a sound if you want X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. Make a sound if you want Jenny to go down. And you can hear this.
Ooh.
And you hear this. and I'm on a live saying, who lips read? And so I went, and there's me on the live. Yes, okay, I'm a professional. So I walked into the kitchen. I'm like, I'm talking, and all I can hear was like, it's okay. You can hear me. You can hear my voice, trembling. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. And so, and I'm like, and I can hear a knock. And I'm like, guys, the sensor light went out. Jenny, it's supposed to go out. And I'm like, okay. This is
a good run is better than a bad stand, Jenny. Remember that.
I know. This was only last year. Yes. I know. I was going to say something else there, but I'm not, because I know I want to keep it behind the scenes and not say anything, Jennifer. Yeah, but I'm really swelled to go on an investigation with. But, what does another question that I have, apart from talking about me and my fear of, doing loans, I was going to say lonesomes. That's me. What fears you the most on an investigation? What would be the one that you would say, apart from your most fearful experience, whatever, one thing that would make you crap yourself, basically? There's no nicer way to say it. One thing that would just make you.
I suppose it's like everything. We're there asking. We're asking for everything and anything. But the element of surprise is always going to catch you. No, but think about it. You're in the dark. You're away from somebody. You're not sitting on each other's laps, and you're all away. So when something happens and you get a tug, or you can feel your t-shirt, or you get a push or a touch, no matter what it is, you're always going to have a little bit of a hop. So I think that's it. It's the element of surprise. You're never ready for it.
That's. I know we went on location last week in the Athenaeum Museum. And there was me doing a live. Hey, welcome to the, blah, 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 blah. We're in Enniscorthy in County Wicklow. And I looked over at Louise. And she goes, and I was like, what did I say? And she goes, Jenny, you're in County Wexford. I was like, County Wexford? Like, I've been doing that location for 3 years. And I gave it a different county. I said County Wicklow when I was in County Wexford. So, yeah, it's live, folks. It's live, folks. And, but, you never know what you get with Jennifer. But there was one particular time on that night, and like you say, the element of surprise, and we did have an element of surprise that night. Whether it could have been the bulb blown, it's on the YouTube page, just that particular part. So Niall was asking a question, and God bless Niall, Lou's husband. When we're doing the Estes method, and now you have the headphones on, or Lou has the headphones on, and everyone's asking a question. Niall asked a question the last time I was doing Estes. So I'm like, Estes, and Niall, after I watched the video back, Niall asks his first question, and I go, shut up. So Niall's been told to shut up. And then last week in the Athenaeum Museum, when we were all asking questions out, and I said, Niall, do you want to call out anything to say? So Niall goes, can you make a knock, bang, sound, blah, 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 whatever, because we could hear knocks, and we had to, distinguish and see what we're hearing. All of a sudden, all the light in the room went out, just like a big bang. It was like, every time Niall talks, something happens. But so me and Lou watched that video time and time and time again. Let me tell you, I needed my inhaler by the 20th time of rewatching it, because if you just found out, because as you say, the element of a surprise on a live, we were an Irish team. So there was a few S's and F's put into it. It's like, oh, S, O, F. And then you can hear Lou going, sorry. And you can hear Niall coming in 10 seconds later, delayed, F. So it was good. It's live, folks. It's live. We can't edit it out because you've already seen it, but it's live, folks. And that's what happens on a paranormal team. Like, oh, shucks, oh, suckers, No, really.
No, there's always going to be, as we say, the big words.
The big words on it, yeah. And my excuse is we're Irish, so it's part of our language. Sometimes. Oh gosh. Right, we are going on now. We could talk all night. We're
only sharked a big bottle in the middle of the table.
Listen, a few drams now. I know that's Scottish, but a few drams, Scottish and Irish. But we could literally talk all night. I mean, you saying, Jen, I like to talk, and I'm like, okay, we got one.
No, it was an absolute pleasure. It was a pleasure to you both. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I appreciate the chat with
Oh,
both
well.
with both the two of you, Ginny and Nando. It was an absolute
It's
pleasure.
been a pleasure. It has been an
Been a
absolute.
straight chat.
It has, and I'm so happy that a fantastic Irish team has been on the show, because we've had many fantastic paranormal people. But I also, like Nando has fantastic teams in the UK that we take onto the show as well, and I, you like to have your country fellow people to be on the show as well, and we're a bit of a banter, a bit of a crack, and we don't know when to. The Irish goodbye. I am so much for the Irish
Well,
goodbye.
no, I appreciate the chat, the support, because it is always hard. It's like the phoenix. I always say the phoenix, you're rising all the time.
I have
Everything
the
in life.
tattoo on my arm. I have the phoenix on my arm. I have the phoenix tattoo on my arm. Yes, I love the phoenix.
So I appreciate the support as well, especially for us, for the way that we've had a full year. And so I do appreciate it. And it was a great
love
chat.
your work. I love your videos. I love your team's work. I love your passion in the paranormal as well. And I'm delighted that you had time to do the show with us tonight.
No,
It's
and
been
thank you
great.
very much.
Great.
We have very quickly here. I'm going to put them up very quickly. We have the links to go into Instagram. This is the link to go into Instagram. We have the we have the second Instagram. But Jennifer has been busy. Oh, I'm doing all this now. We have the TikTok, and we have the that's the web page to go on to as well. But anything you want to say, Puka?
I suppose really the only thing to say is for anyone that is watching or is getting to know us is, look, keep following us. We hope to bring more.
Absolutely, we'll keep sharing and posting out and supporting.
Support each other. Isn't that what it's about? The community we're in.
Bit of banter and like I know I've seen you working so on, and this is the first night we got talking properly, and I think, geez, we're a wee bit of banter now, so that'll be great.
But no, like that's the way I say it is. Look, I suppose we hope to get better technology, work with it more, and deliver more. At the end of the day, like as you said, like it is passion. It's in the blood.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We do the love of it, and that's it.
Yeah, and we have amazing country and amazing locations and amazing countries that
Absolutely.
we do go to and so on. And it is a shockingly amazing country. Am I really Irish when I said that? Shockingly amazing country.
We just need more doors opening. That's what we need, more doors to open.
We are Connaughton and Errol Doris as we speak. Connaughton Aaron Doris is like knocking on the door in Irish. I remember one time, sorry, just very quickly throwing it in there, when me and Nando were doing a show, and I said, Nando, because Nando was always taking the piss out of me. And I said to Nando, I'm going to give you an Irish welcome to say when we start one of our shows, the Shadow Whispers in the Night. And I said, here's an Irish saying. It's a welcoming Irish saying when you're doing, when we're doing one of the Shadow Whispers. And I said, so say this and Irish people will love it. He goes, Jenny, I don't trust you. What is it? And I said, no, Nando, this is like 1,000 welcomes. So I said, when we come on, Irish people, blah, 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 poke Mahone. He goes, Jenny, I don't trust you. And I'm like, no, trust me. It's like 1,000 welcomes.
No. And I was right not to trust her because I didn't do it. I
was trying to get
Ginny, trusting Ginny, I can tell you from a first real proper conversation, no.
I know that now. You got to be careful when Jenny comes out with something. You got to be careful because she can land you in some hot water.
She couldn't have said to Ganari and Boher Lat with the road rise to meet you. No, she goes, poke my own. That's it.
I got a cup during the week before we went down in the Athenaeum, and we all got Irish mugs, and mine was like, is my lum cup on tea? I like a cup of tea.
I don't even know what the Irish are. My Irish is limited at the best of times. As I said tonight, I'm lucky to be able to read and write and use English. To write anything else. No, thank you both very much again. And
You're a great star. Gaurav Mahagat.
Yeah. Thanks very much for chatting. It's been a great show.
Nando, you can say Gaurav Mahagat.
I have the notion what you just said.
You can say Gaurav Mahagat.
No, I ain't saying anything.
That means thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
Oh,
Anyway,
No,
nice to
that
meet-
does genuinely say thank you very much, Margaret.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough then. I apologize.
oh, you believe PJ, but you won't believe me. I don't blame you.
Yeah, I don't blame Margaret, to be fair.
No.
Oh Lord! Right, you can find. Lord Almighty, Pick Up Vogue Paranormal Investigations Ireland on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and their websites, and they're all on the link that we have here now. Let me see one more thing before we go. Last one. Lulu, good night, my daughter. There's my Lulu. Good night, my love. Good night, my love. And she's still awake. I can't believe you're still awake. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring us into the background, play the intro. If you want to stay there, you can stay there. If you want to have a wee chat afterwards, if you want to go to bed, you can go to bed.
Right,
I may go for a tipple.
Listen, I'm going to go do one myself. Sure, it's only 12:10 in Ireland, you know.
That's all.
Sure, listen, it's like, you know, evening time. Stay there. I'm going to bring us into the background for Tickety Boo.
Okay.
And we'll be back in 2 Tickety Boos.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone who watched, listened, commented, shared. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week. Bye.